Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome to a very special live stream. This has been in the making for like over a year now, and the party has grown since then. So I'm very excited. I finally got to put all this together, get all these great people together to talk all things there is about Pokemon, something that I had an interesting childhood with, but the guys on the panel with me today have probably a much better childhood with Pokemon. So that's why I got to bring the experts in for this live stream. So with that being said, we're gonna get introductions out of the way and introduce you guys the fine folks that are gonna be gushing over all of their Pokemons, whether it be their waifu Pokemons or their favorite games, gym leaders, you name it. And there may be some hot takes being thrown around too. So this should be a blast. But actually, let me give a quick shout out to the people in the chat because we got a lot of people already here. Sorry about kind of like last minute stream notice. Restream sucks. It doesn't want to create YouTube events for me, so we kind of had to like drop this kind of hot. So want to give a shout out real quickly to Flaccid Phoenix, Nosferatu, Gooder Take, Afro Midwestern, Dustin Shock, and also, let's see, Frank Adores Games. What's up? A lot of new people here. Appreciate everybody swinging on by. Left Eye Eagle, what's up, brother? Man, I haven't seen you in a while. How you doing, man? And yeah, that's gonna be about it for right now. So without further ado, we're gonna bring in my first guest, and he's one of my original friends here in the YouTube space. So let's give a warm welcome to a Mr. Woopa Troopa himself. What's up there, comrade leader?
That's amazing. That's the best intro I've ever gotten.
We all got to salute our comrade leader. So, and I
Yes.
see Jake D's not here. I figured he'd have been here ready to roll and saluting for us. But yeah, appreciate you coming, man. I know we've been talking about this for a while, and I'm glad that we can finally get this done, and have a fun time.
Yeah, I love talking Pokemon. Anytime I can derail another YouTuber to making their channel about Pokemon, it's a great time.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, we're gonna bring in my next guest. This is another guy that he wanted to really do a stream like this, and so he's a big Pokemon fan, maybe for different reasons. I don't know, but we're gonna bring in the one and only Abomination AJ.
Furry.
Yo, what up,
Furry.
AJ?
Bro, I was like, where is this going?
Oh, dude, I was crying laughing, dude, making these intros because I knew like I gotta hit everybody in like the channel lore type stuff. So I was like, all right, this is AJ, you're gonna have to take an L for this, but I gave you that TMNT opening, all right? So I figured you like that.
No, I loved it, man. Infernape is the best Pokemon.
Hey man, I like Sinnoh starters, so I mean we'll get into it later. But yeah, he's pretty cool, and I like the art you did here, man. So it's pretty cool combining two different Japanese together into that. So, but yeah, appreciate it, dude. I'm excited to have this conversation with you because we've been talking about it for like over a year now. So between you and Woopa and our next guy I'm gonna bring on, we've been trying to get this nailed down. So appreciate it, man.
Yeah, man. There's an account floating around called Infergita. That is not me. So
That's weird, man. That's a little sus, but
that's a little sus. We're just gonna leave it right there.
all right. All right. Well, that being said, we're gonna bring in our next guest and another Pokemon enthusiast who's been he has a lot of fun trying to retro hunt for Pokemon games and documenting his eBay adventures. So let's bring in the IJP Mexican. Yo, what up, man?
I was muted, damn it.
Start over.
That was amazing.
Yeah, I figured.
I wish I could dance like that, man.
Yeah.
Ludicolo.
Well, man, another guy, another friend of mine, talking Pokemon for a while, and yeah, dude, like,
Yeah, like
yeah,
over a
year,
year.
just
A
yeah,
long
trying to
time
nail
coming.
this stream down. Just been busy and everything, but got it done. So appreciate you taking time to chat with me. So hopefully you are ready for this. Hope you're ready for
Absolutely.
some hot takes from people and whatnot.
I can't wait.
All right, and for our final guest, he's a new friend of mine, a recent friend. I wanted to invite him on because he's probably a bigger Pokemon fan than all of us for like different reasons. So this will be a lot of fun to see what happens. So I'm gonna introduce my good friend, and let me make sure I get the clip ready. Carl of Dojima, who also hosts the RNG Gaming podcast. So put your hands together if you want to clap. What's up, Carl?
I don't know how to take that one. I do appreciate the Piggy Smalls, though.
I had to give it to somebody,
Respect.
all right? Listen, AJ, I already kind of tagged AJ with the persona tag, so I was like, you know what? You're gonna get the weird Pokemon simp tag. So
That
I
could have
got
been worse.
Good stuff.
all right, but yeah, man, appreciate you. I mean, you're a new guy here, and as far as like my circle of friends, and but our conversation about talking about Pokemon and stuff is it's pretty interesting learning about your Pokemon journey, and I want these guys to hear it too. So I think they'll be pretty excited to talk Pokemon with you. So appreciate you taking time hanging out.
No problem. Thank you for having me on. I feel like an upstart usurper over here coming in because you guys know each other for so long, and then here's little old me just coming out of the woodwork.
I mean, it hasn't been that long.
I mean, come on, dude, over a year? That's not long. Come on.
Car, you
I
gotta,
mean,
Wow.
you
it's
gotta do
not
the voice,
short,
bro.
but
Hey, why is this Snorlax here?
what voice?
I can't do Carl's voice, bro. I'm terrible.
I can't do it. I'm from the Midwest, not New Jersey. If anything, the person here who could probably get close to it is probably Canadian because how he says Pokemon is very kind of like East Coaster almost.
Pokemon.
Pokemon, you know what I'm saying, bro? You go get the Pokemon.
What's all that soy in the voice? Take that out. Try it again.
Someone who grew up in the Midwest, AC, you have like surfer boy vibes when you say Pokemon.
Dude, listen, man. I've
the,
heard
car,
like
the carbines.
the carvings. Yeah, I know. I've heard so many different accents. You know, I've learned like 3 different languages. Like, just things get mixed up. All right. So I don't know how to correct myself. I've had to. I guess I need a speech coach, right? I need a dialect coach or something. But yeah. So
It's over here flexing. Sorry, I've only learned 3 languages.
I didn't say I mastered them. I've learned them. I mean, I could have learned, pirate talk for all we know, and I still don't know how to speak like a pirate.
Yarr.
Oi.
Just add it to the list. Help me to hone my 14 languages I've learned.
Well, guys, I wanted to do like a little bit of an icebreaker. So we're gonna talk about what our favorite generation is, and then you can either choose a favorite starter, and it doesn't have to be from the same generation, or you can choose your favorite Pokemon overall. So I'll start us off. For me, my favorite generation, it's a little bit harder to choose, but I'm gonna have to go with Gen 3. And that's only because it was one of the first games that I owned and I played through completely. Like I beat it instead of like playing through like an emulator. It was like an actual physical cartridge. I had a lot of fun playing it. It was a good introduction to Pokemon as a whole. Um, Favorite Pokemon? I mean, obviously the one I've got on screen here, Aegislash from X and Y. I like him. I like him a lot. I like his stance change. I like him in Pokken, so it's like the Tekken fighting game with the Pokemon skin over it. And I like his shiny. I think his shiny's pretty cool. So those are my answers. I'm gonna go over to Woopa. How about you let us know what you got?
Oh, this is really awkward because my favorite is also Gen 3. That was the second one I played. I played Silver first, and I went to Ruby, and it's just a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. Uh, I don't know. I really love the Game Boy Advance. I had the Game Boy Advance SP because I'm fancy like that.
Nice.
And I just put a ridiculous amount of hours. I had that whole like Prima guide that they used to make. I don't think they make them anymore. But like they went through like everything you could do in the game and all of that, like where you could find the Pokemon. It was the first game I actually had like a guide for. It was just a lot of fun. I sunk a ridiculous amount of time into that.
And I guess what would be your favorite Pokemon? Is it very obvious?
What do you mean? Why would you say
Is
that?
it Onyx?
Close, it's very close.
It's very close. Well, yeah. So besides, I guess Woopa or Wooper, excuse me. What is there like another one that you really like that you always try to find depending on the game you're playing? You always try to capture and add it to your party.
Well, I mean, yes and no. There is another one that I really like, but I don't really try to capture it because it'd be Mew. That'd be kind of hard to capture.
Oh yeah, of course.
But I
Epic.
loved like I remember when I was like what 3 or something. I like dragged my mom like, "Mom, we got to watch like Pokemon the first movie." And I just love that movie. And Mew is was just a chill little dude. Like there's like, "Hey, we're about to end the world with fighting." And Mew's like, yo, check out this bouncy ball I just made. It's pretty cool, huh? I don't know why I love this guy.
You know, later on, when we get to it, you guys are gonna have to explain to me like how the hype was for a Pokemon movie, like how it was when you guys are growing up, because I didn't really experience that, but I know that was like pretty life changing for a lot of kids. So later on, you'll have to, yeah, just share your experience with that. But yeah, thanks for your answers there, Lupa. AJ, go ahead.
Oh, bro, what are you saying? Favorite
Favorite
region,
generation?
generation?
Yeah, favorite starter or even like just normal any Pokemon.
All right, man. Favorite generation, I'm gonna say 4, and I just think generation Pokemon, not necessarily, but I think the starter goes with the generation. So Chimchar is my favorite starter. The ape, it's not a black joke in there at all, but the little the little ape Pokemon, and then how he becomes Infernape, and then the whole the Monkey King lore behind that. I thought he was a very interesting Pokemon. I like my fire fighting types. Everybody loves Charizard growing up, but when you become a man, you put away childish things. So it was Blaziken until they gave me the monkey. So now it's Chimchar. But Generation 4, because I mean it was the base game, but then that's when you got to like kind of customize the Pokeballs. I love that feature because you can like make like little letters and different little effects like elements
Sparkles.
to pop out, sparkles, all that
Oh
good stuff.
yeah.
So I mean, Generation 3 was when I was like, okay, let's see what this contest stuff is about. But Generation 4 is when I was like, okay, let me be a Pokemon master as well as take over being a Pokemon contest champion. So Generation 4 is my favorite, hands down. What was your other question?
I, w-
No,
I
you
would
answered already. Go ahead,
Oh,
Rupa.
okay, okay.
I'd add in. I mean, Gen 4 is when they added Lucario, so AJ's really not beating the furry allegations right now.
No.
Oh, I'm not trying to.
Oh
I'm furry
no.
adjacent. No, Lucario and the Mystery Mew. I own that movie. That's one of those Pokemon where we thought he was going to be a legendary, but you find out he's just a regular old run of the mill Pokemon after
Yeah.
all
Oh
that
yeah.
setup, bro. It was terrible, and to even include Mew in that movie. But anyway, no, man, I thought I was going to get my representation. Lucario was an Egyptian Anubis inspired Pokemon. I thought he was gonna be mythical, legendary OP doing the
Hey, at least he was put in Smash. So he
you right.
who really wins at the end
True.
of the day.
You are right. Yeah.
Hey,
I
you got
also
your
play
Egyptian Lucario in Pal World, so you're good now, buddy.
man, I'm not playing Power World, bro. I'm never touching the stuff.
Oh my goodness. We can get into that later. IJP, what about you?
So my favorite generation is Gen 2. Even though it has a lot of problems, it's still pretty good. And my favorite Pokemon is Kadabra, even though Alakazam's is like a better Kadabra, basically. I like the design of Kadabra more.
Okay. Yeah, with the long tail, the goofy looking tail.
Yeah, and the single spoon I think is better than the dual spoons.
All right, right on,
I
right on.
IJP's just like 2 spoons. What the hell? What the heck is this?
Yeah, that's a little too far for me.
I like the 2 spoons, but like how you give this dude this fat tail just to take it away?
Yeah,
What's he supposed to be like the
I
creature
agree.
based off of?
Probably like some fox thing.
Okay.
Honestly, don't know.
Yeah, because that tail reminds me of like a bug's like abdomen. Like
Hold on, guys.
Uh-oh. The dogs are barking.
Release the hounds.
Yeah, really. Yeah, they didn't
like my
like it.
take.
All right. Well,
They're like, he said who?
that's cool, man. What'd you think about well, because you like you said Kadabra, so you probably didn't care so much for Mega Alakazam then.
I mean, the fact that it exists is cool. The design is just kind of like,
I mean,
doesn't really do much
even
for me.
more spoons that had to tick you off.
Yeah, that's very true actually. All right,
Oh, I hate this guy.
sweet, good answer, good answer. What about you, Carl? Close us off with this.
My favorite generation, is put on my top 5 JRPGs of all time, is Gen 4, specifically Pokemon Platinum. My favorite starter is Trico because Trico Tree, he's the OG. Love him very much. I love his design, and I just loved him more from the anime because he was always a boss in the anime. And then I wanted to do two more things just to have a little bit more fun. My favorite legendary is Rayquaza, and my favorite non-starter Pokemon out there is Metagross.
Oh, sweet. Okay,
Nice.
Shiny Metagross is pretty sick. I will give it that.
I love Trico in the anime too.
Rayquaza love. I like it.
Yeah, did you hear that? Rayquaza is his favorite legendary.
Yeah, Gen 3 and 4 really have a big influence on my life a lot. It's very close between Emerald and Platinum,
Heck
but
yeah.
I give it a little bit extra to Platinum.
Man, I never owned platinum. I had so my dad, he's big into gaming. He got me into all the nerd stuff that I'm into. And he had the modded DS. So I had a platinum like emulated, modded or whatever, downloaded. So that's how I got to play.
Like the R4.
Man, that's probably what it was, but I don't know. I had a bunch of games on there. But yeah, that's how I got to play platinum. So Giratina is special to me as well.
Oh, that's
Oh,
dope.
Garatina's awesome. I love
Yeah.
it, especially the Origin form and
Yeah,
the Platinum version. Next
Mhm.
level.
All right, well,
I just like that they.
oh, go ahead, Whoopa.
So I like that they made like a tiny Giratina plushie. Just like here's this crazy like monster legendary, and then there's like a tiny like 6-inch plush of him just chilling out.
Yeah, how did you describe him in that one the one stream you're on, Carl? You were describing Giratina to people.
Uh,
Like, what was your pitch about like platinum? You can share the pitch here. You're saying it to people that are like not familiar with the game and how
yeah,
it peaked at Pokemon lore.
I feel like the problem with like a lot of people after Platinum and like Diamond and Pearl and Heart Gold Soul Silver, it's like you have like the equivalent of like Pokemon God and Pokemon Devil, and then Space and Time, and it kind of just feels like it's kind of hard to top the Pokemon God, guys. Don't you think a little bit in your lore?
Yeah.
Yeah, man,
Yeah, a bit overboard. And
I hate
unnecessary.
Arceus, but so my students, and they're like elementary school, and they were collecting Pokemon cards, and they're like, "Well, who's the strongest Pokemon, the first Pokemon?" And it's like I'm conflicted because I was like, "Well, when I was growing up, it was Mew, but now y'all have Arceus, so I got to explain that." And I was like,
Yep.
"Well, Arceus is the Pokemon God, so Giratina is like the devil, like Satan, so he's banished to the bad area." Then you have Dialga and Palkia, who are like his head angels, who help him to create everything else. So, I mean, I don't know if that was intentional on Pokemon's part, but it makes
Oh, it
Oh yeah.
absolutely
yeah.
was.
My and we'll get into it, I'm sure, but it's like, all right, Pokemon, you have enough lore established. Let's just stop.
Yeah.
You've added all these like
Yeah.
Chinese Pokemon or whatever that I'm like, bro, we doing too much right now. Let's just work with what we got and make it work, make it last.
And then they added the alternate universe and then introduced Necrozma.
Oh my goodness, the different
Ugh.
universe Pokemon Giga Beast, is that what they call?
Ultra
Ultra
Beast.
Beasts.
Ultra
Yeah.
Beast, bro. I hate it. I hate it.
I didn't play those games because I didn't have a 3DS because I was broke. But I just remember like I think it was a Pokemon Presents they were doing, and they were explaining some event in Pokemon Go, and it was all about ultra. Well, I already forgot. I said it and I already forgot.
Ultra
Like
Beast.
Ultra
Ultra Beast.
Beasts, and then Ultra Wormhole and Team Rocket Rainbow. I'm like, what Well,
That
I
was
am so
actually cool
confused.
though. I love that part of the post game of Ultra Sun and Moon though, because it just brought in
Oh,
all the villains from the other games if they would have won in those universes as bosses.
I haven't played it. I can't like say if it was bad or not. I was just listening to him like, well, I have no idea what's going on. I thought I knew this
It's
franchise. I guess not. I don't
yeah,
know.
you're getting it like out of context. You're just like, what is happening here? Yeah, I can relate to that. So, what I want to get into next is I want you guys to you can have like maybe 10 minutes to kind of explain how you got into Pokemon. You can go back to like when you were a kid, um, and you can touch on like I guess what was that defining moment for you that really like you got sucked into Pokemon, like just wanting to play it, wanting to experience it, talking with your friends about it. Um, and I'm just curious to know because all of us come from different backgrounds, like how it was for you. So I'll start with the new guy here, Carl. I've heard this story plenty of times, but I don't think these guys have. So you can go ahead and let people know like what is Pokemon to you and how did it define you, I guess.
I think probably like most American kids growing up in the mid '90s, started with the anime. Obviously, rest in peace to the voice actress of Misty and Jessie. She just passed away recently too, so I guess you should say
Oh
that too.
yeah.
Yep, RIP.
So, started off with that. That's where I found my first favorite starter Pokemon was Bulbasaur because of the anime, because Bulbasaur was a G, and he just did his things his own way in the anime, and I loved it. I got my first Pokemon game. I think it was Blue, if I recall correctly, for Easter actually, as an Easter gift. And then after that, it kind of continued on from there, just constantly buying the games every year, keeping up. Like I wasn't a big Nintendo boy growing up, like UAC and probably some other people on here. I don't know all their gaming taste too well, but I know they all like Pokemon. So uh, I would always just buy the new handheld just to play every new Pokemon game. So I got a Game Boy Advance just to play Pokemon. I got a DS just to play Pokemon. And then so on and so forth. You know, played all the GameCube games, loved all the spin-off games too from there. Uh, then eventually around 2010, I wasn't really playing too many video games. I was playing a lot of the TCG stuff, so like Yu-Gi-Oh and Magic and all that stuff. Got into the Pokemon card game around 2013. Was sponsored to play it for a little bit. Was going to tournaments all across the country. Me and like a few other friends. They were also playing the VGC side of it, which is the competitive video game side of it for the people who don't know that term. I was good at it, not great. Well, let me rephrase. I was good at it, but I wasn't walking away from tournaments winning thousands of dollars like some people. But I could win a couple hundred here and there. You know, I was decent at it. Collected the cards too, like probably everyone else here. Collected the figurines, got the plushies. Met my girlfriend, who's now my wife at the time, in 2015. Stopped playing competitively, and then just basically have been keeping up with the games as I keep going on and on. Keep finding out more interesting Pokemon lore as I go, and always willing to have a fun talk about Pokemon because I think a lot of people like to poo-poo on the series as a whole now for some reason, and they don't really appreciate just how interesting and cool like the lore is of all these Pokemon games. I really love them. I know some people like to degrade them as RPGs, but they're still enjoyable to me. And this last one, Scarlet and Violet, I think is honestly probably one of the better Pokemon games to come out in my lifetime, and probably is in my top 5 right now.
All right, is anybody gonna contest that? I'm waiting.
I mean, I haven't played it, so I
I
can't, in
figured.
good faith, contest that.
No, I like to just see if anybody's gonna argue about because everyone knows that it had a rocky release, right? And that's not. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
like I guess smash a game for a rocky release. As
Oh,
far as
I
like
will. It doesn't run good at all. I have no problem admitting that.
Does it still
No.
not run good?
Okay, well,
No.
see, that's where I would
Yeah,
smash the game
let's
because
do
it's like,
that.
come on, like it's been out for a while now, it should be working fine. So, but besides that, you were telling me that I guess story-wise, it has like a really interesting story to it. like when you're trying to explain the game to me. But no, I know it's that game's a little bit of a hot topic for different Pokemon fans. So I was curious
Okay.
if any of you guys would say something.
I mean, I kind of, I mean, I was listening, but then I started reading the chat, so I didn't hear what you said, Carl. What are we arguing right now, or wanting to argue?
No, he said. Actually, go ahead. You can explain it, Carl. Sorry.
I said Scarlet and Violet is probably one of my favorite Pokemon games of all time, probably top 5 in my
Mm,
opinion.
And
But
no,
this
so
I
is this is coming
I
from a guy that's played all of them from the beginning, so he's
I'll
not like
agree
a
with
casual.
I'll agree with that, even though I hate the game.
Yeah.
So I definitely understand.
Okay.
it runs terribly. It's unplayable at certain points. But after I plowed through this, I was like, man, if Switch 2 comes out and they can get this running at a stable frame rate, this game could probably be really good.
I'll just say with the again, my issue with Pokemon is I think they're just adding too much, and I think with the what was the Sword and Shield when they actually had some Pokemon out of the Pokédex, like you didn't have a complete Pokédex. I think we're going to continue to run into that problem in the future if they just keep adding Pokemon. Then the next games that come out won't have certain Pokemon, so we probably won't get our favorites. So that's my issue. Is like, why do you keep adding stuff knowing that you're not going to be able to put it all into the game? But as far as the quality of life, the features, the quote unquote open worldness of it, Scarlet and Violet was amazing for that reason. Now, if we want to get meta with it, I have issues with the women being all butchy, and being all tall and buff and
Oh my
whatnot.
gosh, yeah. I hate
But
that. I know
yeah,
exactly what
we're
you're
We'll
not
talking
wait
gonna
for
go
that. We'll
there.
save
Yeah,
that.
we're not
Yeah,
gonna go there. But
we'll save that
besides
later.
that, besides that, man, the game is amazing. Like I thought about throwing on Pokemon Violet earlier, but I started playing Arceus. But yeah, I agree, man. As far as quality of life and the game itself, mechanics, it's amazing. But the game itself, the lore, the story, I hate it, bro. I'd rather it not be what it is.
Art is subjective. I never try to tell people like you're wrong unless you try to tell me Death Stranding is a great game. Then we're gonna have some words. But like I said, I understand that there's a lot of problems with the not the mechanics, the frame rate and the performance. That's like my biggest gripe about it. But the battle mechanics going to terrestrialization over Gigantamaxing from Sword and Shield, I'm like, oh, this is so much more interesting and cool than Gigantamaxing was to me. I hated
Okay,
Gigantamaxing.
but look at what you just said. You said the terrestrializing and the Gigantamax. Those are two gimmicks after Mega Evolution. We should have just stopped at Mega Evolution.
Oh, here we
RIP
go.
Megas.
Yeah, bro. RIP Megas. We should have stopped right there.
All right, well, we'll get into that later, AJ. We gotta get through people's backgrounds.
Yes,
Is there
sir.
anything
Yes,
else you want to add, Carl, about like your history with it or why you like it or whatever, or
Uh,
pass
it's
it?
just it's just really like it. That's just what it is. There's what I always tell to everyone. Uh, there's a reason why this IP is the biggest IP in the world because there are so many Pokemon out there that you can find one for everyone out there, and that's kind of how I sold it to my wife too. Is she found a Pokemon that she liked, and it's just been kind of like a snowball effect from there. Met a lot of good friends playing Pokemon, so it's holds a lot of like really good memories, really bad memories. From basically my childhood, like people stealing my cards. That's a different story, but met a lot of good people on the road. Been to a lot of different national events across this country, and there's so much to do with like if you want to try to get into this scene like in a competitive way. Like I think it's the best competitive format out of all the big ones for the TCG.
Interesting. Okay. I mean, clearly, because they have like a huge, like they're having it right now, right? Pokemon Worlds in Honolulu.
Yes,
So like
yes,
they
right
have a
now.
huge event
Oh yeah.
for just like TCG. I mean, they've included all the other stuff over the years, but TCG is still like really big. Like for them to have it in, they had it in Yokohama, Japan, like last year or the year before, and then now it's in Hawaii. So like, yeah, clearly the TCG is a thing to go to, or the tournaments is a thing to go to.
Yes. If you've never been to a Pokemon regional or a nationals or I don't think they're called nationals. I forget what it's called. Um, Intercontinental. I think I can't remember. Or even Pokemon Worlds for that matter. They just got the world champion for TCG for the Masters division, which is the people 18 and up. They just announced that the winner of that one just now too. I just got a notification.
Nice.
But like if you've never been to one of them, or if you're ever interested in getting into it, you can always just message me and I can tell you just the ins and outs of all that stuff. It's really fun. Pokemon tournaments are just so much more friendly and welcoming than Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments.
Yeah, that I would imagine so, considering the demographic that Pokemon is like aimed towards.
Well, you know, it's funny that you say that. I don't want to take up too much time, but I'll just say this much. It is so awesome to go to one of these tournaments because like you'll have like the parents playing in the tournaments. They'll have like the parents judging these tournaments. Their kids are in the lower divisions. They're playing in the tournaments too. It's like a definition of like a multi-generational like event. Because like I played a guy who was there, and he's like, I only started playing because I wanted to spend more time with my son, and now my son's really good at the game. So we started going to these tournaments because it was a way to help pay for their college education too. Because the younger brackets, they get like some tournaments give them like 10 grand towards college.
Oh wow.
And so he's basically was like, well, he keeps winning this like money to help his college scholarship. I'm paying for it. We're kind of bonding. And it's just like, yeah, you know, I'm not good, you know, I'm just playing like a fun little deck, but I'm here to support my kid. And then if my kid just decides that he's not having a good day and he drops out, then I drop out and we go like just go have a fun time in whatever city you're in.
That's cool, man. That's the memories and the bonding that you can do with your family members. That's pretty neat to hear about that. Thanks for sharing that. So, IJP, what about you, man? What got you into it, and what keeps you interested, I guess?
So my earliest memory with Pokemon is when I was on a train with my mom. I think I might have been as young as 3 years old, and there was this older kid with a whole binder full of Pokemon cards, and he gave me some. And I still have, I lost most of them, unfortunately, but I still have 6 of those cards somewhere around here, which is pretty cool. I also watched the anime growing up. I don't even remember like starting to watch it. It was kind of like always there in my memory. And I don't remember how old I was when I first saw one of the games in action, but my thought was, oh, they're taking turns. That's not like the show at all. That's dumb. So for the longest time, I avoided the games. I thought, oh, that's stupid. Why would they take turns? Doesn't make any sense.
Oh my gosh.
But I did play Stadium. That was my first actual game that I played, and that's like the same thing. It's the same battle mechanics, but for whatever reason, that game it like made sense to me. I don't know why. It wasn't until 2012 that I actually downloaded and played Leaf Green on an emulator. I was not very good. I didn't know exactly what I was doing. I was following like a let's play of it. I eventually like dropped the game because I got stuck on Misty. Because if you don't know what you're doing, she's gonna wreck you. Uh, I think like a couple months later, I saw a review of Gen 1, and the guy mentioned that Kadabra was OP. And I remember thinking, oh, I've seen Abra. I'm sure I can just switch train him and get him to evolve. So I did that, and that's when like Pokemon really clicked with me as a game. And I've been playing it ever since. I still have, I don't think the first time I played, no, I do still have the first time I played Gen 1, original Gen 1, the save file I played on emulation, which is over 10 years ago, which is crazy to think. And I've only played up to Gen 3, which you guys can critique me for not playing all of them, I guess. I know AJ has called me out for that before.
I mean, it's
And the only reason is because I've heard stuff about Gen 4 that I kind of go like, I don't know if I really want to play that game.
What?
And I do want to play them in order.
This guy.
well, is it because like you didn't have the hardware? Because a lot of reasons why people don't play them is because of hardware as
Yeah.
well.
Well, even like emulating back in the day, I couldn't emulate a DS game and have it be at a consistent frame rate. So I just went, I'm not
Yeah,
even
that
gonna
makes
try.
sense.
Hey, AC, can we kick?
Also, I do like nowadays I do like to play on original hardware if I can, and like we were talking about backstage, those games are very pricey nowadays, which is very unfortunate because I remember being a kid and seeing those games at Walmart and going, I don't like Pokemon. I can't buy
And
this
then you're
game."
like 10, 50 years later,
Like,
yeah, biggest regret
dude.
ever.
You fool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Dude. Gen 5 for like $25 at
Oh,
Walmart. Oh, I don't need
sheesh. Yeah,
that.
that hurts me hearing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Um,
all make mistakes as kids. You know, now we look back and you're like, man, I wish I would have kept my boxes. I wish I didn't sell them for money.
I wish I would have
Oh
kept those
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
cards.
my gosh.
What were you trying to say earlier, Woopa?
Oh, I was just gonna say, hey AC, can we kick this guy off the stream?
Oh my goodness.
Listen, I haven't actually played the game, so I don't have a real
All
opinion
right, we're
on it.
gonna have to remedy that, man, and get you to play it at least platinum. And I mean, we talked about it a little bit backstage, but also on here like with platinum. So, but that's cool.
I have heard that platinum is a lot better and it fixes some of the
Okay.
problems
It
with the other
does,
ones.
and it adds so much more to the gameplay fun. It's like the definitive version of the way to play these games.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool, man. Oh, I was gonna mention to you guys here. So IJP, was it like a year ago? You did like a Pokemon Stadium video with your
Yeah.
buddies, and you're like, oh,
Oh, that was
seriously? Yeah, you're
a few
like
years ago
gaslighting
now. That
them
was a
while you're
long
playing
time ago.
against them in that.
Dude, one of my friends, he didn't know that Sudowoodo wasn't a grass type. And it's hilarious.
That's great. Yeah, those
So
videos are great. If you want, I think you're a mod, right? If not, like you could drop it in the chat, your video, or give it to one of us. We'll drop it in the chat. But you should definitely check it out later. His Pokemon Stadium videos because they were pretty funny. With your, it was like two of your buddies, right? And you guys, and how were you setting it up
Yeah,
though?
yeah.
Because you're playing it through the internet or something.
So here's what. So John doesn't have, my friend, his name is John. He doesn't have a PC, so we couldn't use a parsec, so he could do inputs on my computer. So he would just literally say, "Do the up move," because in Pokemon Stadium you got like up, down, left, and right for the move list, and I can't see them unless I press a button. So I like take like screenshots of his moves, so he knows which button corresponds with which move. So we were literally like cavemanning it, like press up for me. I'm like, okay, I'll press up for you.
Yeah.
Literally the worst way to
It
play.
was good though, and then like the trash talking back and forth throughout the video was really good. So, yeah, you guys should check it out. But
I was playing with a pretty bad team, and I was very nervous he was gonna beat me, but I managed to pull
nice.
through.
Well,
Oh, if I
oh,
could find the clip too, our mutual friend, Mr. AC, Mr. Metal Shred, he was doing a playthrough of Pokemon Stadium, and he is the only person that I've ever seen get triple horn drilled in a row to lose a match.
oh wow.
That's insane.
And there's a clip of that online. I gotta find it, but it was the funniest thing.
Was it Stadium
Yes.
1?
Leave it to Fernando to get to have bad luck like that. That's funny.
That's
I
amazing.
know. I was like, there's no way it's gonna be a
Did you
triple.
buy a lottery ticket
No,
after?
he just continues to suffer because I assume it's because I was in the call with him. That's why it happened.
You were there to witness it. That's amazing.
Well, IJP, is there anything else you want to add to your Pokemon adventure before I toss it over to AJ?
I'm waiting to have like a legitimate reason to play some of the newer games because I see them and they look okay, but nothing that I would like really want to play. Especially like the closest one was Arceus, but every time people talk about the game, it's like, oh, the world is really cool, and I like all that stuff too. But what I really like is like the battle mechanics. And every time I ask somebody like, oh, how's the battle mechanics? They're just kind of like, I mean, it's alright.
Well, they're not doing a good
Alright,
job
here,
selling it. I think Woopa could probably sell you on it.
Well, I was gonna say, like, I don't know if you're aware, but a good reason to play Gen 9 is you got this guy. Look at
Oh, there you go.
So that's
man,
really all you need.
I know AJ was in the game.
I would
Hell
say,
yeah.
look, man, I got Arceus. I just go to the pawn shop for my Pokemon games. I'm not interested in giving Nintendo money. And I found Scarlet, Violet, Pearl, and Arceus for under $25. So
That's good.
That's really
the
good.
experience is way better when you don't have to pay full price. So check out a pawn shop, bro, to get them. I definitely think you should play them. The only thing is that I have my older Pokemon, but to keep up with current generations and to battle and do all of that, you're gonna have to put them online on the Pokemon with Bank Cloud, whatever it's called.
Yeah, I'm not paying nothing
Man,
for
it's only
that
like
stuff, dude.
$5
I'm
for
not
a
doing
whole
that.
year. I think it's definitely.
Yeah, it's $5. Ain't getting that,
Okay,
man.
all right. I feel you.
Yeah.
I love a principled gamer, bro.
All right. Well, how about AJ? Yeah, give us your origin story with Pokemon and like what keeps you going, and try not to dive too much into complaining because we'll get to that in a minute. But
Okay, okay. I'm gonna keep it cool, man. I love Pokemon despite hating Pokemon. I was there for Generation One. It was like one of those things that it was just always there. You know, before school, it'll come on TV and do you want to be a master? Not that one, but that's what I'm saying. It was just always kind of there on the TV. So I enjoy Pokemon. I think when it really became like a phenomenon is when the first movie came out. Burger King had those gold Pokemon cards and the Pokeball, Mewtwo. I think that's when my furry path started. I didn't know if he was a girl or not, but he was real thick.
oh my goodness, here we
That's
go.
awesome.
Yeah, they had them thighs. Them thighs was real thick, bro. But yeah, hear the man voice. I was like, oh, okay, he dope. You know, that's a strong Pokemon. But nah, man, I love Pokemon since Generation One, and I've just kind of stuck to it because of the nostalgia. But I can't think of, there's a lot of monster tamers out there, and nothing holds a candle to Pokemon. Even though they could, there's a bunch of improvements that they could make, but Pokemon just has this hold on the monster taming genre that has to be respected. Um, and yeah, I think they should stop, but Pokemon has enough to create a vast world. What was that movie? Pokemon I Choose You, where they kind of rebooted the whole franchise where everything was
Yeah.
established. I'm like, bro, that's it right there. Like Ash fought what he fought in there? Cineroar with his Charmeleon, with his Charmander. I'm like, that's how you do it. Like, let's start over, but establish everything. But Pokemon is not, they're not going in that direction. But no, man, I love it. That's how I got into it. I had to trade in cards, never learned how to play the game, but just collecting the cards and looking at the art. That's cool. I got my old cards in my house back in Tennessee. My students, Pokemon is still crazy popular. My students from like last year had started. They were collecting Pokemon cards and whatnot, so they got me back into doing it because then I could trade with them, giving them some cool stuff. Kids who parents couldn't afford or didn't buy them any, I could give them like some of my cards and whatnot. So that was a fun experience getting back into the newer generation through something that I grew up with, something that I enjoyed. So I love Pokemon, man. There you go. I'm not gonna complain.
All right, appreciate it, man. Um, I mean that's cool. Just you know, like I think it's good if you can critique something that you love because it shows that you have like a deep passion for it, and like you're not kind of one of those like blind consumers to it. Um, you just have to find a good balance. Like if you like over criticize it, but you really like spending money on it, it's like what's going on there with that. But but that I mean that's cool, man. Yeah, we'll get into the whole like rebooting and stuff because I think some people here probably got some thoughts on that. But yeah, I'm with you on that. Like I think sometimes it feels like it's got ahead of itself and it should kind of come back and kind of do like a soft reboot. But yeah, that's awesome, man. If you got nothing else to say, I'm gonna throw it over to our final guy here, Comrade Woopa.
The last thing I will say was I wasn't there for the games Generation One. I had cousins that had what's it, red, blue, yellow, crystal,
Gold, silver.
yeah, gold, silver. I didn't get those. I didn't have a Game Boy Color, but I had the Game Boy Advance. So my legit first Pokemon games was Fire Red. But my dad bought every generation. So Ruby and Sapphire, like I had Ruby, he had Sapphire, and he bought the like he went to work, had the game fact guys, he printed all those pages out the hundreds of pages that there were and made us a little game, little strategy guide. So that's when I was like really dug my heels into Pokemon and was a I need every generation, I need every game from now on. So
That's awesome.
there you go, I'm done.
All right. Well, thanks for sharing, man. Woopa, take it away, man.
Yeah, I think the way it really started was kind of like what Carl was saying. I was but a little childling, and I was like, I just watched TV all the time, as one does. And they had what was it on WB, right?
Yeah, WB for
Yes.
kids.
WB
Yep,
for
yep.
kids.
Sorry.
Hell
Yep.
yeah.
Yes. And so they had that, and I was always wow. I'm like, dude, this is so cool. Um, because it was like I feel like it was so much different than all the other like kids shows. I guess because it was like I mean it was anime, but um, like all the other kids shows were I don't I I don't know. It's hard to explain without like watching the episodes again, but it was just they had so many random jokes that you're like, whoa, okay. Like I wouldn't get them even, and sometimes you go back. They were very meta sometimes too. It was kind of cool, but I like that show was awesome. I wanted to play the games. I dragged my mom to go see like the movies in the theaters. I was that kid. Uh, I couldn't wait for it to be out on VHS, you know. Uh, but so then my aunt. So I was living my mom and my aunt. They were living with my grandparents, and my aunt had a Game Boy Color, and she had Game Boy Silver, and me like my aunt wasn't there, so I got her Game Boy, and I didn't understand how video games really worked. I played like Blue's Clues games and stuff like that. So I got her silver, and I was like, well, it says continue or new game, and I don't want to like play her game, so I'll just do a new game, and just totally overrode her
Oh
entire save,
no.
and she was not happy with me.
Oh no.
She probably had like a
But
shiny or two on there.
I, I don't think she was that serious because she was mad at me for a while, but then she's like, actually, you can just have this Game
Oh,
Boy
okay.
Color. It's fine. Like, I think she just bought it because it was cool and like everyone was talking about Pokemon, and it was just that I got that. I've got silver. Played that game. It was really cool until I think I got to the Sudowoodo, and I was like, "What the heck is this thing?" I
It's a
was like, "I don't
rock.
know how
It
to."
looks like a tree. What's happening here?
Well, I was just like, I didn't know it was the Sudowoodo yet. It's just like it's a tree, and I'm like, well, I can get rid of this tree, and I use cut, and it's like doesn't work. I'm like, okay, well, like it says I'm supposed to put like water on it. Where do I get the water? And I was like 5, so I'm just like, I don't know. I just give up because then I think I got blue, and I played that game, and that was a lot of fun. Um, love that. And then I got a Game Boy Advance SP. Finally, like the first console that was technically mine. I do remember. I just thought of this. I remember. Do you guys remember that light attachment for the Game Boy Color? Because there wasn't
Yes.
backlit
Yep.
yet.
Yeah, I
Yes,
remember
I
that.
I
do.
remember. I remember having that thing like in the car with my parents, just sitting there playing the game with the little light on. Oh, that's so much fun. It's so goofy, but that's a core memory. That stupid little light thing. I used to. I used to. I loved the music in that game. The on Blue at least. Like I used to whenever we'd have the gym battle, even I know we talked about that a little on your stream, AC, but
Yep.
like anytime the gym battle, I'd just sit there and like little six like I'd win the battle and then I just wouldn't press A. I'd just sit there and listen to the music. Just probably destroy the battery on my Game Boy and just chilling. Because it was so good, man. Uh, but yeah, then I got Game Boy Advance SP, coolest. And I got Ruby. And I got someone gave me like for Christmas, probably Santa. Um, gave me like the Prima guide for it, and oh my gosh, that game was awesome. They make you learn Braille just randomly for no reason. They're like, "Screw you, kid, figure
Oh
it
yeah,
out."
That's
that's right.
epic.
Yeah, that's right.
Learn Braille, and you can't even touch it. 'Cause it's on a flat screen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's
like
like
what is
counterintuitive. It
this?
doesn't make sense.
But oh man, that was so much fun. That game was really. I mean, I was into it pretty much the moment I saw the anime. I'm like, this was great. We used to play in the. This is how you know that we were bullied in elementary school. But we used to play on the playground. Me and this one guy used to like play Pokemon. Like we wouldn't have like the cards. We wouldn't have the games because it's elementary school. So we just like pretend like we were battling. and that's why we didn't have a lot of friends. So
Oh yes, I can relate to that.
I mean, there was enough nerds there that it wasn't bad. It was just looking back, I'm like, man, people were probably like, what is wrong with these
Yeah,
guys?
they're
What are
just
they
like
doing?
screaming at each other on the playground.
It was, oh man, that was fun. And yeah, just the amount of hours I put into Ruby is ridiculous. I still have my cartridge. I have I have most of the cartridges. I lost my crystal cartridge, which sucks because that's one of the harder
Oh
ones to get.
man,
F's in the
that's
chat.
I
two
don't,
hundred
F's
dollars
in the
down the
chat, boy.
drain.
oh man, but I have my Ruby still, but the internal battery is dead. I gotta go. I fixed my battery on my Game Boy Advance. Now I gotta actually fix this battery on some of the games because I played them to death.
Yeah,
But that was so
it's
much
not that hard.
fun.
I've done it before.
Okay, well, I'll just send them to you then. You can fix
Or you can send them to me too. I just had my buddy change all mine out over the weekend.
Hell yeah.
them. Oh, nice.
It'd probably be more cost effective to send it to Carl than IJP. Dude, I'm just thinking of
Yeah,
distance right now.
Listen.
yeah. Gotta send them. Gotta send them all the way to India.
Oh yeah.
I wasn't even thinking about that, but yeah, Bangladesh.
Bangladesh.
Gotta send him to
Yeah,
the
man.
island nation over there. He'll help you. It'll take you 3 months to get him back, but don't worry, they'll be ready.
Don't worry.
If
you
They'll
get
be
'em
ready.
Yep.
It's better than sending them to Illinois. Am I right?
Yeah.
Oh, you don't want to go there. I mean, yeah, no, that was a lot of fun. I always loved playing those games, and from there, I mean, I played. DS was like the first one with like internet connection, so I didn't have to. My cousins had their DS Gen 4, and we used to just play together all the time. So much fun. The We used to like mess around in the underground area for so long. It was so much fun, and he kicked my butt because his parents let him play way more than I did, so all his Pokemon were higher level than
Oh
mine.
no.
But it was so much fun. That was when we got into like we would use like I'm like, okay, I'm gonna borrow my cousin's DS and I would put in my copy of I'm gonna put in my copy of Diamond and then put in my copy of Platinum and just send all the legendaries over to Platinum. I had like two Dialgas just for no reason.
Nice.
I don't know what it was. Man, it was fun just getting into that. Uh, I took a little break when the 3DS came out. I know some people would get mad, but I didn't like Gen 5 that much. I played, I'm like, it's okay, I guess.
Ooh, interesting take.
Yeah, uh, but after that, it's like, I was still a kid. So I can't buy a 3DS. I can ask for it for Christmas, and then that's going to be like my whole Christmas. So I'm like, I was never a big Nintendo person. I was a big Pokemon person. So it's just like I'm gonna buy this just to play Pokemon, and I didn't even like the last one, so I'm just gonna pass. So I didn't really get into Pokemon for a while. I went to college. It's really silly and childish, uh, but that's me, I guess. Was just I got a it was no, but first it was Discord. They had that like Pokemon, that Pokecord thing that got banned. They made another one now, but they got um you could just like you'd set it up in a channel and catch your Pokemon, and then like the more you type, the more you leveled it up. And I was on Discord all the time, so I'm like, oh okay, I'll do that. I remember some of these Pokemon. If it's from Gen 4 and before, I'll know it. And you'll see the ones you're like, who is this? Is this a Digimon? What is this? But they'd be that was fun, and I saw like a Pikachu that was wearing like an Eevee outfit at GameStop, and it was like $20, and it was the cutest thing. And I'm like, I'm gonna buy this. And that's where my Pokemon plush addiction started, pretty much. Uh, but it was really like I kind of got back into it. I'm like, oh, this is cool. I can buy these. I actually had money now. I can buy these things. So it was really fun. And then they announced Legends Arceus. I know it's Arceus, but I don't care. I've been saying Arceus too long. I'm not stopping.
Yeah.
uh, but I heard about that game, like, oh, this sounds awesome. And I bought a Switch to play that game, and I bought like the OLED, and it was at
Oh,
the
you went
peak
all
of
out.
like it was. I mean, it was there, and I was at the peak of like the Switch shortages. So I paid $50 extra for it on top of like the $50 extra
Oof.
for it being OLED, just to play one game. It was the only game I had, and honestly, it was worth it. I love that game, but that's another conversation. But that's really how I got like really back into Pokemon. I heard about that game, and I'm like, this sounds exactly like what I want, and it pretty much was. So, but I
That's
guess that's enough rambling from me.
that's awesome, man. Yeah, like that. I mean, I'm not. I bought a console for one game before as well. I understand the feeling now. And I mean, you that's extra commitment there because during the shortage, as well as like OLED model, like you had to, you really went for the creme de la
I
creme.
figured. I mean, it was like I can. I think it was only 50 extra. I mean, it's still it's $50, but it's like most of those upgrades are like, oh, you're gonna spend like $200 extra. It's like, well, it's $50. I'll put $50. It's the new one. Might as well.
That's awesome. And I mean, like for those of you guys who don't know, I had a Pokemon Music Talk stream with Woopa and another friend of mine, the Legend of Leo, and yeah, we were just gushing over the Pokemon music, and Woopa sharing his stories about it, and yeah, man, some of the, especially Pokemon music, a lot of it, man, can slap. I mean, we all know, we're all familiar with like Gen 4 Cynthia battle theme, like kind of being one of like the best
Yeah.
themes out there.
Hmm.
Um, Obviously, like I opened the stream up with that's from Super Smash Brothers Melee. If you guys don't know, that's called Poke Floats. It's the stage in that game where like
Best
you're
stage ever.
yeah, it's funny because they didn't even bring it back for the new
I
Smash
know,
Bros.
dude.
I
That's
was kind of
sad.
shocked. Yeah, but that song is really good. Anyways, yeah, like it was a fun time talking music with Woopa, and but yeah, man, like that's cool that you wiped your aunt's save file, and that's what got you to Pokemon, even though you couldn't get past Pseudo Budo, and
Yeah.
um, but yeah, dude,
I was It was pre-internet, so it's just. I mean, I guess the internet was around, but they wouldn't let me on the internet. So
Yeah.
they wouldn't let a
if
little
something
Woopa like you on the internet.
right, that's just irresponsible. So yeah, if you got stuck, you just either had to ask around like in recess, or you just give up. So I'm like, well, I mean, I hadn't played Gen 1 yet, so I just went to that instead. It worked out pretty well.
Nice.
Yeah. To add more on that Pokemon music, it in every generation it just seems to get better and better. Uh, One of my favorite battle themes is the Aether Paradise battles from Sun and Moon. If you ever get a chance, because I know some of you haven't played those ones, re-listen to those ones. They're absolutely spectacular, and even the ambiance music, like in Area Zero and Scarlet and Violet, are some of my favorite ones as well.
Yeah, the city themes, like when you're going between towns and whatnot, the route themes are amazing. Like just compositions to listen to, even though for the most part, they compose them really well so that they don't drive you nuts hearing them, especially some of the later generations because they have like more room to work with. But yeah, they're great to listen to, and there's a lot of like awesome like lo-fi versions that people have converted them into that sound great. I've played Sun and Moon, so
Oh
I
yeah,
think I know what track you're talking about, but I'm gonna have to go back and re-listen to it because it did have some pretty good music for that game. S-
yeah.
Uh, oh, go ahead,
Something
Whoopa.
that's always really nice. Like if you go back, I like a lot of like just video game music in general. But if you go back in like the Pokemon, like the original like 8-bit Pokemon games, if you listen to like music of other games that came out in like 1996, and then listen to Pokemon music, I mean, other games that came out on the Game Boy Color, of course. Um, it's like Pokemon music blows that out of the water. Like the original Blue and Red, it was, or I guess it was technically original Green and Red, but uh, but it was so awesome, and it's pretty impressive that this time and like the skill they put into that, considering the limitations. I mean, obviously we know like they were operating up to the memory limit on those little cartridges for Gen 1.
Yeah, and it was one guy that did all the sound design, or he was called a sound programmer for that for
Yeah,
those first couple of games. He did the
Junichi
music.
Masuda.
Yep, yep, yeah. So he and I think to this day he still composes music for Pokemon. Obviously the technology
He's
is like much better, but yeah,
he's still in Game Freak. I think he's more of a overseer.
yeah,
I think
okay,
I think he'll make like a track here and
yeah,
again, but I think Gen 3 might have been the last one he like truly worked on. I mean like worked on everything for at least.
yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, I appreciate you sharing that, Whoopa. And I mean, like I said, I'm glad we got like four unique people here with different backgrounds, and whether or not you've played all the games or if you've played the TCG, everyone here has some small connection to Pokemon that's like relatable. So I think for us though, it's like the anime, just like all the memes and the clips from it and whatnot. But for
It
me,
was such a
my
good show.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I got some clips. I'll play one here once I finish with my intro about it. I asked IJP for some help and I found some pretty fun and some of my other friends for some help and we found some good clips. But yeah, for me, mine's actually very different. So I grew up in a household where Pokemon was viewed as like satanic. I don't know if you guys remember that in the late
That
'90s,
brings
early
me back.
2000s
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
where like there was a big between Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh. I don't know if Digimon was under that umbrella, but there was like this
Probably.
weird Christian movement against like media like that. And
Yep.
so, yeah, my parents would not let me consume or partake in any form of Pokemon. And I remember one memory. A friend of mine at school, he was really into it. He gave me a couple cards, and I took them home because I was really excited. And my dad saw them.
Oh
He's like,
no.
"What are you doing with this?" I was like, "A friend of mine gave it to me." He's like, You're not allowed to have those." So I had to put it like in an envelope and then give it back to the kid at school the next day. He's like, "What's up with this?" I was like, "Yeah, my parents said I can't own any of these." So that was kind of unfortunate, but I always had this like secret love for it or interest for it, I should say. Like I always wanted to play the games. I always wanted to talk about it. But we didn't have. I never was able to watch the anime only because I guess I never really like looked for it. But the games themselves, the only way I could experience Pokemon was through Smash Brothers on the 64 with like Pikachu and Jigglypuff. And then I don't know how this happened, but I got a copy of Pokemon Snap, and I was playing that in front of like my mom, and like she didn't say a word. So I guess like she thought it was fine because I'm like sitting in this little like carousel taking photos of like creatures, and it wasn't like anything like violent. I don't know why, but yeah, so that was like when I was a real young kid, and then around that same time, I don't know how I was able to do it, but I was able to con the school bully into giving me some of his Yu-Gi-Oh cards. He
That's
like
amazing.
Yeah, so he like came to my house, like cuz he always picked on me, but I never let him like beat me up and stuff. Like I was always like fighting him and talking back to him. So he probably thought I was like I don't know, cool guy to just like mess with. But he came to my house and he like left a bunch of Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and they were the you'll probably remember this, Carl, but the like dinosaur series ones. So like
Yep.
basically all of them were like dinosaurs, and I was a big dinosaur kid, and so I was like, man, this is pretty
Still
sick.
are, aren't you?
Of course, yeah, still are. Yeah, so I had these for like a couple years. So then we moved. Like I conned them. I stole them, I guess you can say, from this bully. We moved to another town in a completely different state, and I'm riding the bus with some new friends of mine to school. And this is around the time that Gen 4 was big, and that's when I was able to see more advertisements for it and everything. And my buddy was showing me the game on his DS. He was showing me the trading cards in the back of the bus, and I traded those Dino cards for a couple of those like Pokemon cards. Like, cause I was really hooked on Piplup. Like, he's my favorite starter from Gen 4. But I
Oh,
really
you and
wanted,
my wife. There you go.
yeah, I really wanted Empoleon, and
AC is your wife?
no,
Lucky.
no, and then the Garchomp. Garchomp was one of my favorites right in the beginning because I was like, oh, it's a dinosaur dragon
Nice.
looking creature, you know. So yeah, I traded these like you remember those cards, right, Carl? They're like high. These were like high level, like 7, 8 star Dino cards that I'm trading for like like first evolution form or like not even foils of these Pokemon cards, and I like hid them from my parents for like the longest time. Like I was like, I'm gonna make sure they'll never see these because I was a little bit smarter when I got a little bit older. Yeah, so I also remember around that same time, you guys remember the Burger King promos, right? Like you go to Burger King, get a meal, a kid's meal, and they would have
Hmm.
like a random Pokemon card. I remember collecting
Buy a Whopper, get a Whooper. I remember that.
Yeah, there you. That's funny. I remember getting a couple of those cards randomly. I don't think I still have them, but that was kind of funny. And then trying to remember at some point after that, I received a copy of Pokemon Ruby. And I played that like basically in secret because I didn't want anybody else to know I had it. And I remember playing through it and beating it, and that was a lot of fun. Um, and yeah, from then on, once I finally was able to escape the tight boundaries of entertainment that I had to like thrive in my family's house. I bought my own like consoles and stuff. So I remember buying a 3DS for like other games, but I remember when Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby came out in 2014, right, Carl? It was 2014, I think. Um, and yeah, I was like super ecstatic to get to play a game from scratch, basically that I bought with my own money. Especially a game that I've played before was a remake, and a coworker of mine, he bought Omega Ruby, so I had Alpha Sapphire, and we were playing it like pretty much next to each other, and that was a blast. And so ever since then, like I've been playing catch up with Pokemon, like trying to play the older games, trying to watch the anime. I never really got super far into the anime, and yeah, like when the Switch came out, once again, a lot of my coworkers bought Sword and Shield. So I think at one point, like 6 of us were playing the game, and so we were all just playing the game and trading back and forth, and it was like a real blast to do that. And then shortly after, Legends Arceus came out, and that was like really really cool for me to play kind of like a different type of game, I guess you can say. Um, and then the last one would have been Diamond and Pearl remake, which a lot of people have like issues with it because of just how it looks and everything. But I still had fun playing it for the most part, especially with my goal with that game was try to complete the decks, but like I missed out on like a couple of Pokemon because one of my coworkers like um he like forgot to trade with me before I like got out of the military. So like I still have like an incomplete decks, but it was still fun like playing through it, trading and kind of re-experiencing or experiencing Diamond and Pearl on like a different platform. But um as far as like other games, oh that's right. One of my biggest regrets was I bought a copy of Pokemon Battle Revolution, which is like the Wii version of Stadium from
Oh
GameStop,
no.
and I liked the game. I actually liked it because you can transfer your DS Pokemons to the game. It had like really nice animations and everything. But the biggest regret I made was I accidentally like sold it back to GameStop because I was like, oh, this was fun for like a couple weeks. Like, why do I still have this game? And I got rid of it, and so I've
Oh
been
no.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So it's one of those things where it's like I've learned my lesson not to like get rid of things too quickly and just to try to hold on to stuff because Pokemon games hold their value like it's better than gold. It's insane. Um, but yeah, so like I said, I've had to like play a lot of catch up with Pokemon, and it's been like an interesting experience, and it's fun, man. Like I I want to replay it now, but it's like it's quite a commitment just to go back and like replay an older game. Um, but yeah, that's basically my origin story. I'm trying to think of like another funny like childhood memory about it. I remember when my grandparents had these plastic bowls that had the 3 legendary birds, like they were separate colors, like red, yellow, and blue. And I remember seeing that as a kid. I was like, how come Grandpa and Grandma can have Pokemon stuff, but I can't? And my parents like had no real answer to give me. So it's like,
Parents are just like, well, that's because your grandparents worship the devil.
yeah, yeah.
Because we don't want you to be a sinner like Grandpa and Grandma.
Yeah, yeah, it was funny. So, I thought it was funny. I was able to get these Yu-Gi-Oh cards, these high-level Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and trade them for like low-level Pokemon cards. Um, like just it was an interesting time. But yeah, besides that, I I'm trying to like I said catch up. I want to play one of the top of the number one priority games I want to play is Heart Gold and Soul Silver because I really liked the
Yeah.
DS
Nice.
graphics for those games.
Oh
And
yeah.
I've always wanted to play. I tried playing Silver and like the original Silver, and I know you guys have like good nostalgia for those games. I don't, so it's like really hard for me to play like a game that's like it runs really
My
slow.
trigger word, AC.
Oh,
What trigger
Oh
word?
no.
Nostalgia.
hater.
Oh,
Hater.
yeah, you can crucify me if you want, because I thought Gen 3 really cleaned up the menu, the navigation, as far as like reading text and everything and moving around. Like it was like a smooth experience, and that's why a lot of us like Gen 3. Um, I think more than the older gens, but I'm not gonna put words in your mouths. So,
I think
um,
a lot of reasons why people like Heart Gold and Soul Silver is because they are part of Gen 4 and they have a lot of Gen 4 mechanics that makes it a lot better.
yeah, okay, and then also that it was like two games in one because you can go back to Kanto, but like also in like with the DS graphics as well, which is kind of cool. Um, but I have one last memory I'll share with you guys off stream about Heart Gold and Soul Silver. It's not something I feel comfortable sharing on stream, but it is.
Uh-oh.
I think you guys will laugh because it's kind of ridiculous. But besides that, yeah. So I appreciate everybody, all you guys sharing your backgrounds and whatnot. So we're gonna jump right into just the conversation, and you guys can interrupt each other, jump in, and complain or talk about whatever you want with Pokemon. But I'll start off by let's play a couple of clips to kind of chop things up a little bit.
Oh no, it's raining!
Hey, I know. I'll use my trusty frying pan as a drying pan.
Let's go, Bronx.
Classic.
I met that voice actor at Yu-Gi-Oh! Nationals.
Oh, that's
hell yeah,
awesome.
that's amazing.
Oh,
Oh.
dude.
Thank you for reminding me, Carl. I actually got to meet the original Ash voice actress.
Nice.
She
Dude,
Yeah.
that's cool.
she came her and her daughter came all the way to Tokyo Comic Con, and I didn't know they were there. I just was like walking down Artist Alley, and I'm like, who are these people? And like, why does this lady have like Ash like plastered all over her backboard and some other random characters? And then I looked at it, I was like, wait, what? And I looked it up online. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is like the original voice actress. And like, she was a really nice like older lady. And funny fact, do you guys remember the show called I think it was called Dinosaur King? It was another
Yes, sir.
anime.
I'm
So
not shocked you would say this one, but go on.
So I was able to watch that show. I don't know how I was able to watch that show, but not Pokemon, because they're almost the same thing. And she told me that when they like fired a bunch of those voice actors for the original series for Pokemon, they basically all moved over to Dinosaur King. So she voices the main character, the Trike Rex. His name? No, it's not. What's his name? AJ, do you remember?
Man, I don't remember his name, but he had the Triceratops.
Yeah, that guy, and like some of the other characters around, because they all sound pretty similar. And she said that's because they're all the same voice actors. But yeah, she was pretty cool. And she also voiced for you Fire Emblem nerds out there, Micaiah, the English version,
Oh, no kidding.
from Radiant Dawn on the Wii. And actually, I have a signed poster of her, and as well as she voiced one of the characters in Three Houses. I'll have to get you that information later, Carl. But besides that, yeah, it was pretty funny just to meet her. One last clip because I wanted to play this clip as well.
Jelly-filled are my favorite. Nothing beats a jelly-filled donut.
The infamous jelly donut clip.
Dude, that genuinely like
That
took me.
confused me even as a kid.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, I say it took me longer than I'd like to admit till I realized that
You know-
Japan just doesn't have jelly donuts that look like.
Dude,
I was like, oh, that's interesting.
man.
I had to explain that to my wife the other day. I was like, because I was explaining her about this show, and I was just like, so they like translated onigiri, which is what you saw on screen, the rice ball, to jelly donut, and she seemed like what a jelly donut is. Like they have donut shops out here, and I'm like, I have no idea why they decided to go with that. Maybe because in the scene there prior, there's like a red ball inside the onigiri, and that is supposed to be plum, like a pickled plum. So maybe like because it was a white outside and like a red middle, they're like, oh, it looks like a jelly donut, and so that's the word they decided to go with. So, but
Did they actually translate it wrong? I thought they were just that was like one of their quote unquote creative decisions.
no,
They just
I don't think it's,
localized it.
yeah, that's what I mean. Localized it, like Carl said.
All right, so I got a question for you guys. Have any of you ever seen the Pokemon stage show?
No.
I don't think so.
No, Pokemon Stage.
All right, here I'm posting this right now for you guys to see this thing because my mom actually took me to this as a kid, and it is like one of the most bizarre fever dreams I can remember. Was that there was actually like a live action stage show and with like people playing Ash, Misty, and Brock, Team Rocket, Giovanni, and the plot revolved around fighting Mewtwo 2. That's how original they were going with this one. So I actually posted the YouTube link over here. I think it's a 30-second clip of just like the commercial for this thing. If no
I
one's seen it, it's funny.
so that I thought you were gonna send me something like from Japan, but it's like a North American looking thing. That's pretty interesting that they had
Mm,
that. Um,
I think I think I remember that now that you mention it. And I think my mom was like, "Do you want to see that?" I'm like, "No, those guys look weird."
That's great. No wonder it probably didn't survive too long then. That road
No,
show or
it did
whatever.
not. I'm gonna post it also in the chat if that's okay.
Yeah. Um. So, all right, let's get into the meat of this. Let's talk about like just different subjects when it comes to Pokemon. So, um, let's go with IJP if you're here. You brought up a good point about Pokemon Stadium, especially since now you can play it on Nintendo Switch Online. So why don't you give us what you want to discuss, and then we can talk about it for like as a whole. Unless he might be back or gone.
Yeah, he's gone.
Okay, never mind. We'll get that to that. AJ, go ahead. You always got something to complain about. What do you got? What do you want to let us inform us about?
What an intro.
What was the question?
No, like what is something you wish that I guess Pokemon could do that probably would kind of help the series out, other than rebooting it? Like, is there a mechanic? Is there something they should be focusing on? Games wise, let's
Man,
talk about the games.
man, I'm tired of being a 10-year-old kid with no father.
Okay, that hits a little too close to home for you, I guess. I don't know.
Exactly, bro. Like I don't want to. I want to see this. That's why I stay away from black entertainment, bro. I don't want to keep seeing this story play it out.
Oh, sheesh. All right. We're good. We're,
Hey, I
we're
was a
going
10-year-old
strong.
kid with no father either, so I relate to it even more.
I feel you, my boy. We brothers. Um, but not
So
exactly,
AJ only
exactly
plays
that.
Gen 3.
The yes, my dad was a
A gym
can't cuss
leader.
on her. A bad A gym leader, a
Yeah.
normal of all the types, normal.
Yeah. Hi,
Yes.
how are you?
Now man, Pokemon Coliseum, I would say that's probably my favorite Pokemon game though, and the fact that
Oh yeah.
I was an
I-
ex gang member
Oh, let's
with
go.
with the Espeon and the Umbreon, bro. Like it was so
Yes.
different, but it was like this character is established. So as I'm playing Pokemon, and it's like I'm stuck as this 10-year-old kid who just starting this journey, but as soon as I go out, I'm fighting Bug Catcher Joey, preschooler Mimi or whatever. Like, how
Yeah.
do they get Pokemon
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
early?
Yep.
So yeah, man, Pokemon needs to have like a create your own story type thing where you can clearly choose your age, like your character build. And I enjoy the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games. I love those. And you got to take a personality quiz, and based on your answers, they will give you the Pokemon
Hmm.
based off your answers. I'm like, let's do something more like that, where I have like a choice of Pokemon because you think about real world, it's not you go get a Pokemon from the professor. Like people's parents have Pokemons that they will pass down to them or let them have. Or my mom's Pokemon had babies or whatever, and I get one of the pups, one of the eggs or something. So I think Pokemon needs to
Hmm.
stop treating their audience like, oh, you're all just dumb kids and you get the same story over and over and over, and kind of flesh some of this stuff out, or at least create like a structure to where it can appeal to everyone. And I'm also tired of me being a 10-year-old kid and somehow my Pokemon are way stronger than these guys who've been training Pokemon for years. And like, you can't beat that legendary, but I can. Something's not adding up, man. I'm not the main character in that sense.
Just
So
gotta believe in the heart of the cards, man.
the harder the cards, the harder the Pokeballs, I guess. I don't
The
know,
power
man.
of
But
friendship, bro.
there you go. The power of
Yo,
friendship.
yeah.
I just love my Pokemon more than those old guys. But that's my
Yes.
issue with Pokemon, man. That's
um.
all I got.
So okay. So you touched on some important points there. You're talking about Pokemon games that are like not even I wouldn't say they're traditional, right? Like Coliseum, Mystery Dungeon, they kind of go away from like the typical formula that you'd see from the mainline games.
Spin-offs. That's the word you're looking for. Spin-offs.
Yeah, spin-offs. So I would ask you, AJ, do you play strategy game or like tactical strategy games or like any type of strategy game for video
Man,
game, I should say?
I played Fire Emblem. I played Disgaea.
Okay,
I
so
played Valkyrie Profile.
I feel like, and Carl could probably back me up here. He probably
And
would
hold on,
like.
Pokemon Conquest. I never got to play it, but I want to.
Okay, so there you go. That's what I was gonna
Mhm.
mention. You probably like that game then, because it.
Mhm.
Carl can. I think you could probably explain a little bit more about it since you've played it or own it. Oh, did he step away? Oh.
No, I'm right here. I was just like, well, I don't really know what there's to say. Actually it's like a spin-off game of a spin-off game. That's the funny part about it. You get to fight like Nobunaga and play all these famous Japanese people, but with Pokemon. It's like a weird thing because I think you were telling me the other day that in Japan you were like, is that called Pokemon Conquest in Japan? I'm like, yeah, isn't it called like Nobunaga's like Adventures or something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, but on top of that too, like there's other cool games like that out there, like Pokemon Ranger. That's another really good DS series out there too, where you kind of
I've never
Oh,
played
yeah.
Ranger.
Ranger
Yeah,
is a lot of fun.
Ranger is a lot of fun too. I haven't played them in forever, but if you want to play like as like an older
My
character doing something different that isn't just like going around collecting badges or something, that's really one I
yes,
highly recommend.
I don't want to necessarily do something different. Like I still want to be the main character. I still want to be on this quest, but make it make sense. Like why am I this young? Why am I 10 just starting my journey? There's a meme floating around and I think it has what's Hop's big brother?
Oh,
Leon.
Leon, yeah.
Yeah,
And
Leon,
it
it's
was
Leon.
it was like the face you make when the kid that you gave a Pokemon last week like beat you as the champion or something, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, bro,
I'm
that's
gonna
how
find it. I'm gonna
ridiculous.
find it.
That's how ridiculous this series is, man. And like Pokemon, bro, you need to acknowledge the older fans. The movie was good. I hated the story because it was just more nostalgia. It was just more Mewtwo and making that a thing, making that work.
which movie?
The live action movie with the weird, annoying
Detective Pikachu.
Detective
Oh,
Pikachu.
Detective
Detec-
Pikachu. Yes.
R.I.P.
But
Danny DeVito as Pikachu.
oh no, not playing
That would have
Detective
been amazing.
Pikachu.
Ironically enough, speaking, I got my wife to play those games and she loves them.
Nice.
But that's my thing, man. I don't want to play. I've seen Pokemon Ranger. I played a little bit. I didn't care for it. Uh, I want to play Pokemon Conquest. I will find it one day.
What about Arceus? I can't remember if we talked about it. Have you played Arceus or?
Yeah, man, I enjoy Arceus. I like Arceus as opposed to Arceus. That
That's
hard
what I
C.
was. Yeah.
But
I
Technically
like to say
speaking,
Arceus.
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 To make
I
everybody
just call him
mad.
RKO out of nowhere.
Arceus.
But the
Pokemon
next one,
Jesus.
the next one coming out, what is supposed to be like Z? I was like,
Legends
no,
Yeah.
Z.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
The return of Megas.
You should have done
Oh,
that
really?
back then. Because X and Y, I think X and Y were the perfect Pokemon games. I was like, okay, we're only going up from here, boys.
Yo, let's go.
And then the next,
How
they
wrong you
got
were.
the Z moves and bottle caps and dumb stuff, bro. I was like, Pokemon, what? But
You know what? I will say this though about X and Y generation. It did give us Alpha Sapphire, Omega Ruby, and those are some of my favorite games too.
Yeah.
perfect, yes, like that little span of Pokemon games, I was like, we can do no wrong, bro. But yeah, then Sun and Moon come about, and then Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, for them to just, bro, that was terrible,
Well, if anybody wants to contest that, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, because I heard that that's the better version of the games to play.
Sun and Moon
not.
are,
That's not
are
what I've heard.
garbage. I don't like Sun and Moon at all. There's a reason why you could probably get them for like $5 if you're lucky because they're not good. But Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon is really actually a good Pokemon story from a story wise. They tried to do something different with the Kahuna challenges and the Totem Pokeballs. Like they were trying to do something. I wasn't a huge fan of Z moves, but you know, after you go to like Hawaii too, like I have been recently, like you get like a little bit more of an appreciation of just like how much detail they really did to put into like kind of making it feel like the Hawaiian Islands for the for the game. I did like the Tapu Pokemon as well. I thought they
Hated
were really cool.
hated them.
Uh-oh. Fight, go ahead.
This
What's up? What's up? Tell us why.
Oh, bro, I hate Sun and Moon. Like, yeah, we're going to Hawaii, but at that point, after the mega evolutions, then it just became all about gimmicks, I think. And they just kept adding extra stuff, which I think makes like the battling, what is it? Is that the meta gameplay of it? It just started making it more confusing. Um, because yeah, the Z move like Pikachu throwing a stupid electric Kamehameha, and you got to be in sync with your Pokemon doing the same move. I'm like, bro, the Mega Evolutions just grew on me.
Kamehameha.
Um, being in Hawaii was cool, but it was. Incineroar was dope. I think he's probably one of my favorite starters for sure. Uh, yeah, man, it's just
Yeah, he's kind of cool.
the first game was fine. My
The
issue with the
Decidueye was cooler.
second,
I'm not gonna lie.
yeah, the
Yeah.
Decidueye was dope. Yeah, my issue with the Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon was like the Rainbow Rocket stuff was cool. I hated. Oh, that's what it was. So you had a system to where you could, what was it? The EV, IV training, the Super Training
Yeah,
Pokemon. So
yeah.
that was perfect
uh
on X and Y, Alpha Sapphire. And then it turned into the bottle cap stuff where you got to like go online to this like festival, carnival world or some dumb stuff. You have to shake a tree to get some Poke Beans to drop out and
Oh,
feed
I
them to the
forgot about
Pokemon.
that.
Like that was
Pokemon.
stupid. Um,
um
and and then with the what am I trying to say? The I'm gonna leave it at that. It just started to become more gimmicks as opposed to okay, we got something perfect. People enjoy it, they love it. Let's just figure that out. It
All right.
became let's just add more stuff to be confused about.
I got you. Carl, or I
it
guess
does
Smoopa, go ahead.
Okay, hold on, hold on. I just remember what it was. My issue was the story. Real quick, real quick. And this is kind of a spoiler. And Sun and Moon, the rival, the other girl, I forgot her name, with the blonde
Lilith.
hair. Yes, her mom was an actual villain. In Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, they made her a redeemable villain, and it took away all of the evil stuff that she
boo.
done. So I was like, "What are we doing?" She was a perfect villain in the first one, but that's the last thing. That was my main issue with the game.
But what are you gonna say?
Well, I'm gonna say first of all, what's with all these like casual flexes we're throwing in? AC is just like, yeah, I know 3 languages. Carl's just like, yeah, well, once you go to Hawaii, like I have all the time.
I've only been twice. I just been there recently, but I just
Oh,
like I
only
said.
twice.
All right, only
Yeah.
twice. My bad.
Hey man, AC lives in Japan, all right? He used to live out in that area, all right? I've never been there. Have you guys ever been there?
Nah.
No,
I have not.
All right, awkward
Have you guys been
silence.
to
Anyway, that-
Mexico?
Yeah, yeah, I came over here. Carl, I don't know if because you were trying to sell me on Ultra Moon, Ultra Sun, and Ultra Moon. I don't know if you got anything you can not argue against with AJ's take, but if you got some things you can clarify, if you care to. If not, we'll move on to a different subject.
I mean, the whole thing about we're talking about like what we personally like and everything else. And this is supposed to be like it is fun to kind of just like, say everyone's waifu is terrible every now and then, but I'm not gonna like argue with someone who doesn't like a mechanic. In Sun and Moon, they really tried to spin it into Pokedex that mega evolutions were terrible for Pokemon because the Pokemon Company, I think, just did not want to do any more mega evolutions. They came up with a new gimmick called the Z moves. They came up with the crystals. It was a new marketing tactic. I wasn't a super big fan of it. And a lot of VGC times, though, it was fun to get into those parties where you had mega Pokemon and Z moves all on like a thing. It was fun to be like into singles watching. I would say seeing people bring mega Pokemon and then trying to figure out which Pokemon had the Z move and stuff. From a entertainment perspective to me, like it was more fun during that time to watch like competitive battles and stuff like that too. because we also had like the carryover of the X and Y era. So we got like the really cool Pokemon like Yveltal and Xerneas that were in combinations with Pokemon like Mega Rayquaza and the Primal reversions, and then you just have the random chaos of someone having like this over the top insane like meta busting Z move. It was interesting to watch. I think the story was fun. Sun and Moon, I do agree. They had like a Lusamine is her name, his mom. Like she was like a cool villain, and in Sun and Moon, it's like, well, this is also a different universe that's supposed to take in from. Uh, I mean, Ultra Sun and Moon is like a different universe, and then it adds more and more into the story. Like they change up a few of the Kahunas, they change up a few of the Elite Four, they change up a few of the post game stuff. Obviously, I like the Rainbow Rocket one because it is kind of fun that Pokemon decided to add in like all the villains from the previous game is again, but it's like if they won, so it's like if Team Aqua won in that series, or if Cyrus won, it was fun. Um, I think if you're going to play, just skip Sun and Moon, unless you get it for like a really good deal. Because I also think they added more Ultra Beast, and I like the Ultra Beast, even though they're not Pokemon technically. It's I just think it was cool. They tried something new. They tried to do something different, and I know a lot of people did not like it at first, but I feel like Ultra Sun and Moon has kind of gotten more respect from the fan base overall, especially after Sword and Shield when they did the whole Gigantamaxing stuff.
Yeah, especially since Gigantamaxing like broke the competitive scene. Especially like I don't know. Are you guys familiar with the web browser based Pokemon tool, like Pokemon game tool?
Oh yeah.
What's
Uh-huh.
it called, Lupa? I don't remember the name of it.
Shh.
Showdown.
Yeah, Pokemon
Yeah.
Showdown. Yeah,
Okay.
like that. It's a pretty cool tool, AJ. I don't know if you're familiar with that, or even you, IJP. You could
No,
basically
I'm
play
not.
Yeah, I
Pokemon
played it.
battles. Okay, yeah, AJ. You could basically play a Pokemon battle on your phone or on your computer with a web browser, and you can build your custom teams with like however you want to build them, perfect IVs, whatever. It's more for competitive sake, but they added when Sword and Shield came out, they added the Gigantamax mechanic, and it was one of those things where it's like I was playing with a buddy of mine, and he was kind of coaching me, and he's like, "Yeah, you just have to choose like the proper time to Gigantamax, because either you wait till they do it and then you come back and do it, and you can kind of win the match that way. It's just like it kind of like threw off the balance. Whereas like Mega Evolution, depending on your Pokemon team setup, you can actually shut down Mega Evolutions, um, whereas you can't really do that with Gigantamax, I guess. So, um,
Bro,
go ahead.
lore wise, okay. Let's think about this real world Pokemon. If my Pokemon Mega Evolved, that's like the ultimate test of friendship. Like we are there, okay. We are in sync. Not Ash Greninja in sync, but like my boy just reached peak, okay. Gigantamax. You mean to tell me that Charizard, how big he is and how hot those flames are, he's not burning those people in that stadium?
Yeah, that's so true, man.
Or like some flying Pokemon just send a gust of wind and you're not ripping the skin off of the
Well, I
people
mean,
in the stadium.
canonically, a lot of Pokemon can kill you by accident.
And
Just
elephants.
by
They have a
existing.
weird obsession with killing elephants in the Pokedex.
Yeah, agreed, agreed. So it's just
Pokédexes are
like,
just weird, man.
man, just
They're
that
only getting
stuff. I'm
weirder.
like, man, we're just doing stuff. I was hyped playing Sword and Shield, and they got the little music, the chant going when you enter the stadium.
Oh
Oh,
yes,
that beat
that
drops
was
hard.
awesome. It
Yeah,
does.
it was hard, but like, look, man, people should be dead.
AJ just wants to see the crowd suffer.
I don't want to take the Gigantamax, and then with the Pokemon, for you to expand their bodies that rapidly, I'm like, man, look, maybe I'm thinking too deep about it, but that's got to take a toll on a Pokemon's body, man, to get
Yeah.
that big that fast, and then to get that small to shrink that. It was too much, man.
Well, I mean that was a good talk about uh I guess AJ's issues with with some of the Pokemon stuff. But as far as like if Game Freak takes Pokemon and they do something different, like yeah, you're still playing as the main character, but it's like a different kind of like battle system or different type of scenario where it's like you said, you're not like a 10-year-old kid going off on an adventure. They definitely can. They have the power of doing it, the capability of doing it, and they can make some good games. It's just whether or not they will do it, because they have slipped into this issue that a lot of these other game companies have, which is, wider audience, wider audience. They just want to make a game for a wider audience, so that means they're like kind of lowering the entry level, the age entry level appeal. So they're gonna, they're not gonna make those like kind of serious tone games like Conquest or even like Coliseum or Gale. Is it Gale of
Oh
Darkness,
man.
right?
Gale of Darkness.
Yeah,
Gale of Darkness is goat.
But look at what you said. Those are spin-offs. So it's
yeah.
like I can understand them focusing on, okay, our target audience is kids. So the main stuff is going to be very childlike. But here you have this series, Pokemon Coliseum, or even Mystery Dungeon. Like that story should be so much more
Love those.
mature. But like you go through the whole main game as a first evolution Pokemon. You can't even evolve to after you beat the game. So I'm fighting legendaries like back to back to back as a
Yeah,
baby
Zapdos was a
Pokemon, bro.
nightmare.
Like, bro, make it make sense. Like, I'm throwing gravel rocks at this dude and spikes and some little poison food that I found on my way over here.
That's great. That's great.
I'm just talking
That wa-
trash to the Zapdos as a little Trico. It's like, what am I going to do here in real life? This shouldn't work.
Yes.
Yeah.
that was my favorite thing too in Mystery Dungeons, where they're like, well, you could use moves, or you could just throw a rock at this dude and just hit him in the face. Like, I'm just gonna mess this guy up.
That's awesome. Wow. Well, since you're back now, IJP, I wanted to ask you if you can elaborate about your the thing about Stadium, Pokemon Stadium. Um,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
if you
Yeah,
want to
so
explain to everybody about
the
that.
Switch version of Stadium, you can't transfer any Pokemon from Gen 1 games because there's obviously no Gen 1 on the Switch to transfer from. And a lot of people look at Stadium and go, "Oh, that game's it's pretty boring, especially when you play it just with rentals." So like the proper way to play it is play Generation 1 all the way through and then treat Stadium kind of like a post game where you remake different teams for the different cups because some of the cups like there's like a level limit on them.
Yeah, like the
So
tiny cup and everything else
yeah,
like
the
that.
tiny cup, the like yeah, there's like 4 different ones. And because it doesn't have that, people aren't really truly experiencing Stadium the way you should. And it's funny because Gen 1 and Stadium have a very unique way of interacting. There's Pokemon that you can get in Stadium that you can only get like once in the actual game. So if you beat the Elite Four and then your rival, I think, you'll randomly get either one of the starters, one of the fossils, or a Hitmontop or Hitmonlee.
Hitmonchan.
With Hitmonchan, yeah. Which, you would normally have to like reset the entire game to be able to get again.
Oh yeah,
So
I
just
did
just
that
like
as a
little stuff like that and like interacts with each other, which you just cannot get on the Switch version.
yeah, I did that as a child too. When I got the Hitmonlee, I was like so excited. I was like, no way! I couldn't believe I
Yeah,
got this.
it's so much fun, dude.
That's
But on top of that
interesting,
too, you're bearing the lead though. You really only want to play Pokemon Stadium to play as a Lickitung and eat sushi with your friends.
Oh, I mean, obviously, but you can do that regardless.
yeah. The mini games, yeah, the mini games are really
The
funny.
mini games are pretty good.
Yeah, that's what I remember renting the game from Blockbuster and playing the mini games with my cousins, brother, my friends, all that. So there was something
Clefairy
extra
game was
to the
goat,
game.
man.
Man, I remember. I can't remember the games. There was a Don fan like racing game.
Yeah, that was the second one. And the first one,
Yeah,
it was
the
it
rad.
was a hardened one. Ekans ring toss game where you had to throw Ekans onto Diglets to like get little points. There was like a Rat-a-tat racing
sushi.
game, the sushi one, as I mentioned before. I think it also had a gold bat flying one, and
Was that?
I think I don't know if that
think
was
that
the
was
first or
2.
second one.
I think that was in the second one.
Yeah, you might be right. I know there was the electric charge one with Electrodes and
Yeah,
Pikachu's, and then obviously the Clefairy one I mentioned before.
So when it comes to Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2, what were like some of the upgrades that they did with number 2? If you guys played it.
The upgrades. Well, I mean, the cups were different. They had like level 5 a cup. You can only have level 5 Pokemon in there. So you had to like breed a Pokemon with like good moves at level 5 to like stand a chance.
Okay, and
There was
Gen-
also like it teach you like had like a library and you could like learn all the battle mechanics and like strategies and stuff like that.
okay. Was Gen 2 added in Stadium 2? Is that what the big appeal was?
Yeah,
Or...
Gen 2 was I mean Stadium 2 was Gen 2, yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
and it came in a nice little gold and silver cartridge too. That was like a
Yeah,
big thing.
yeah.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Oh, you know what? They need to stop. I don't care that the cartridges goes fully into the Switch. Start making the cartridges the color of the game or again.
That
Okay,
yeah.
like what is this? It can't be that hard. Just dip it in some paint or something. I don't know. Just do it.
No, now they found a better way to do it. They give you steel books.
Yeah,
There
basically.
you go.
Okay,
Don't
well,
like it.
that's interesting. You brought that up, IJP, because um, yeah, with like a lot of those older games, like Stadium, Coliseum, or not Coliseum, Battle Revolution, you can you can basically transfer your character, your team, and your Pokemon up to those games and play them in like 3D. And
Yeah.
so with like the Switch just having Stadium, which I wonder if that's a reason why they're not like gonna bring up or like add the other Pokemon games to the Switch.
Oh my
I think they're
gosh.
missing out on that. I know we all agree on that. Like they're definitely missing
Yeah.
out by not adding
Leaving
it.
money
Well,
on the table, dude.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
if they ported Coliseum and Gale of Darkness day one.
oh my gosh.
That'd be great.
Yes,
Man,
but
you
it's
could do that
all.
with
Go ahead, AJ.
well, I'm saying you could do that with Coliseum too, because I'm trying to think how far it goes back. But I remember Coliseum, you could bring your Ruby and Sapphire Pokemon over to the game.
Yeah, and on top of that too, if you were one of those lucky guys who got a pre-order bonus, that was like the only
Jirachi?
way you could get Jirachi. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Oh, you know
Yeah,
what? Before
it,
oh, go ahead, Whoopa. I got something I want to say, but go ahead.
oh, I was really ticked off because it was just like so. Two of the three best-selling Game Boy games, and all three of the best three selling Game Boy Advance games are Pokemon games. The only one that's not in the top three is freaking Tetris, and they're just like, we're gonna release a Game Boy Advance and Game Boy Color like emulation, and the only Pokemon game we're gonna have is the trading card game video game. What is this? And I don't like that's not bad, but I already have that on my 3DS.
I wonder
Like,
if
why?
they're- I wonder if
Why
they're
would they do this to
waiting-
me?
I wonder if they're waiting for the what's the next anniversary coming up? 30?
Yeah.
I think
Oh my
they
gosh,
might be
that's
waiting to
too
do something
far.
there. I know. I mean, it's not
They
that far.
just-
It's only 2 years.
It's a break glass in
Oh
case
my
of
gosh.
emergency. All right, we already know it's just gonna sell.
Yeah.
Well, then just
mean-
let me shut up and take my money. I want it. I want it.
I mean, if you another thing too is if you look at the Switch sales of Pokemon games, Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet are now number 2 and number 3 of the best-selling all-time Pokemon games. So I don't think
Are
they're in
they
a rush
really?
either. Yes.
Yeah,
Wow.
I think it's honestly, I mean, part of it is Pokemon has done a very good job at like, I don't know what it's called, but like the new generation still, yeah, but like the new generation still loves Pokemon. It's not like a lot of
Oh,
this
yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
like comics. You're not really getting young people into those for the most part.
Well, yeah, like I said before, you go to these tournaments. It's now the people who were kids now have kids who were their age when they got into Pokemon, and they just
Yeah,
keep it going.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
but I
mass
think-
appeal for it. Yeah.
Mhm. But also, it's just this is really the first generation where we don't have like there's not a split in Nintendo stuff. You don't have the console and the handheld. You just have the both with the Switch.
The all in
So
one.
I think it introduces it to a wider market. People who would only buy like people who only bought like a GameCube and a Wii are like playing mainline Pokemon games. I don't know what big of a percentage that is, but I'm sure it. I that seems to make sense to me at least.
Well, also the Switch sales, right? Like the units that they've moved is much larger than the Game Boy units.
Yeah.
So I would imagine the correlation with that is like there's like Carl said, like number 2 or 3 best selling Switch games because of just the sheer amount of Switches out in the wild right now.
I can't back that play because the DS and the 3DS combined sold more than the Game Boy and the Game Boy Advance, I
Yes.
believe.
But what about
And-
the Pokemon game sales for those consoles? That's what I'm curious to know.
I said this before, and I'll say it again. There's a lot of known fact out there that piracy also plays a huge part into Pokemon.
Oh yeah, you shared that before with the Diamond and Pearl, right?
Yeah, Diamond and Pearl, like they lost like I believe an equivalent of billions of dollars due to
I vaguely
piracy.
remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, like
So
I just
Yeah, like my dad.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I
yeah,
just
yeah.
said like my only experience with those games were pirated versions. So
Yo, Game Freak, we got one for you. He's right
yeah, I
here.
want, don't take me.
hey,
We got
listen,
him.
I'm kind of
Right,
guilty of
okay.
that too. I'm convinced I got a pirated version of Platinum from China. I only paid $1, but it came
Oh,
and it
yeah.
looked legit. So I was like, it works. That's all I care about, I guess.
Well, one last thing I wanted to mention before we move on is I don't know if you guys, I didn't really have the experience other than the 3DS games. Do you guys remember the events that would happen during the DS era where it's like if you went and downloaded or you were using the wireless in this location, you can get like a ticket or some in-game item that can help you get to like Darkrai or like some of these
Yep.
other legendaries. Or
Or
like, oh, what's up?
I was like, or even before that, you go to the e-readers and you'd have to get the Pokemon cards and swipe them.
Yeah, like okay, so
Yeah.
there's that as well. And then for 3DS, I liked when Alpha, Sapphire, Mega Ruby, as well as Sun and Moon were out. GameStop was doing those codes where you could basically go and you get a free code from them every month, and you could get like a special legendary, and that was like a really cool like gimmick, I guess you could say, a free legendary. I don't know if you guys got to experience that, but I thought that was kind of cool, like for
No.
like marketing or whatever, little stuff like that. And now it's like I guess unless you hack your, let's say, your platinum game, I don't know how else you would get Darkrai unless you know, Carl, without that special key item.
There's
Carl.
ways to do it online now. I'm pretty sure. I haven't looked into it too much. I know that like for e-reader events, you could still print out the thing and just swipe it onto your e-reader still, and you can get access to like
Oh,
Eon
really?
tickets and stuff like that. Yeah, it does work. Like
That's
it
cool.
is like a legit thing. Um, Another thing too that Pokemon kind of has done, which has been kind of cool, especially in Arceus, if you had Let's Go, Shining and Brilliant Diamond and Pearl and X and Y data on your thing, it unlocked in-game events too for your Arceus. So like you could get Darkrai, Shaman, well not Shaman, but you could get like Darkrai and other things too from the save data.
Oh
That's
yeah,
cool,
yeah, I
man.
think I remember that. Yep.
I love stuff like that.
Yeah, one of the good points. One of those few good points. All right. Well, so I wanted to go to Carl because he, like you mentioned, he was sponsored to play the TCG. So you had something TCG related that you wanted to share with us, and so the floor is yours, and yeah, take it away.
Something TCG Red I want to share with everyone. What do you mean?
What was
You were
that,
talking about.
AC?
Wait, what? What do you mean? Like you said, you want to talk about like competitive Pokemon.
So, competitive Pokemon is a very interesting thing, I guess you could say. Obviously, they got like the Smogon rules, where it's just like you got the single battles where people don't like to play the double battles because the double sat battles is like the more official one
Yeah.
for obviously the Pokemon Company, Nintendo, all of them kind of sponsor that and stuff like that. And then there's of course the TCG, and I find like the TCG of Pokemon to be like the more easy to get into one, not because it's like super child friendly, because there's some crazy combos that you can pull off in this game, but
You also don't
it's
have to grind hours to make a competitive team.
no, you don't. Well, at the same time, a lot of VGC players don't even do that anymore either. They just like will have people hack their games and then just trade them over.
Well, yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah,
but that's
there's a
illegal.
yeah. They say it's illegal, but they don't care. You just got to make it so it's not like super obvious that they weren't legitimately raised. Like you don't mess with their stats too much.
Yeah.
But like
It's
a lot.
basically just time saving because it's like hundreds of hours to make one team, and then you're gonna have to like switch it out if you want to switch your strategy.
Right, and that's why they added stuff like the bottle caps and all that other
Yeah, yeah.
jazz in these later games, just to try to help make competitive play much faster and much easier. Because uh, Pokemon VGC is still a very popular thing to watch. I still watch it from time to time. Uh, a couple of like former world champions and national champions and stuff like that have their own YouTube channels that get decent views. A couple of them are like Wolf Glick is one that if you want to get into it, or
Yeah.
Aaron Cybertron Zhang. Those are two of the ones I follow personally
Mhm.
for my VGC entertainment. And I actually met Aaron Zhang a lot at tournaments because he does commentating for them. Very nice dude, by the way. But the TCG side of it is just like deck building and stuff like that, and it's kind of fun just to actually learn like all the different like crazy combos that you can do with like the TCG, because a lot of it reminds me of like a turn-based RPG, like a legitimate turn-based RPG.
Yeah.
You know, like something like Magic or something like Yu-Gi-Oh. Like a lot of people in my card shop said like the one reason why they didn't like Pokemon was that you couldn't interact on your opponent's turn. So it turned off a lot of people because there is no like so something like say Yu-Gi-Oh or Magic, you got like counter spells or hand traps,
Trap
like,
cards.
yeah, stuff like that. So like you could counter your opponent during their turn. But in Pokemon, it's more like you have to do a lot of setups and then launch your attack and everything like that. So like and they also kind of like to have like the collector's market as well. Like if you go to a lot of these events and everything like that, uh you'll see like the coolest, craziest old school cards and packs. And
my
go on.
sorry, my little brother, he was just talking about this today. He's like, dude, I want to go to the store and see how much I can sell these cards for. I looked up online and there's one that's worth like 10,000. I'm like, dude, first of all, your corner's bent, so it's not going to be 10,000. Like, second of all, it's just like I don't think that this is the card that you think. But he's so convinced he's sitting on like thousands of dollars and he's gonna sell it and buy like a big old PC. I'm like, dude, you need to lower your expectations big time.
No, so like a lot of like the older card sets too, like when I was obviously working in the card shops playing with these people, and you'd have those people like your brother come in and be like, man, I got a lot of Gen 1 cards, they're going to be worth a lot of money, and then it's like, oh, we'll give you $5 for all this stuff because it's just nonsense, you know. And then you got to like worry about like how they look and how they're graded, like especially like those first few sets. Like there's this thing called shadowless, and then there's like shadowed. Like that will like add like hundreds of dollars of value to your card. Then you got to get them graded, and that adds like thousands of dollars to your card. Like I sold my Pokemon collection when I got out of playing the game, and I just collected the full arts, which is like the full card art and everything. They're obviously the big money cards, and it was worth like 10 grand once I finally sold every one of those.
Woohoo.
Nice.
Yeah,
he
and
was in
Business
deep.
on Carl.
I saw you paid to go to Hawaii.
no, that's how I paid for a part of my wedding.
Oh hell yeah, dude!
Selling Pokemon cards. I mean, I was gonna chime in and say, because you're talking about competitive scene. Before I had a 3DS, when X and Y had first released, or maybe like about a year or so later, the YouTube game for like, or the YouTube market, I should say, for like showing gameplay of like the online tournaments, because the 3DS is was that technically like the first online tournament you can do, like like peer to peer per se, for Pokemon. I don't know if you
Wasn't
know
it Gen
that.
4?
Gen 4 was technically it was
Could
Gen
you-
3 at the end of Gen 3, but
okay.
Gen 4
Oh,
was
yeah.
like when they started, they used I think Battle Revolution to do feature matches.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay, well, for some odd reason, like there was a big kick with X and Y. I guess maybe because people were able to capture their gameplay really easily.
Yeah.
But I remember
Yes.
watching that, and it was like a blast just watching people. Like I remember one video in particular, and actually these were they must have been like emulation or something, because this guy came in with one Shed Ninja, and he was like sweeping with like Shed Ninja, which was like really funny. And then like the other guy's team had like legendaries and whatnot. There was like some other funny matchups, and that was like really cool to see that, just like uh Pokemon matchups like that, and the competitive, like somewhat competitive scene, but also like trolling scene. So
Yeah.
I did
the
enjoy
new
that.
meta.
The new
Well,
meta, yeah.
there was a world champion that won with Pachirisu, and there was like a whole big
I
meme about
remember
the community for that
that,
one
yeah.
for a
Oh
long
really?
time.
What's up
Yeah.
with that?
I can't really remember too much. This was like a long time ago. I think the player was from Korea or Japan. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know he was Asian, and I know that usually the people that are topping are either from Korea or Japan. So it's flip a coin. You're gonna land on
Yeah.
heads, you know.
That's funny.
But
No,
like
I remember Oh, sorry.
Go on. Finish your point. It's fine.
Uh, I was just talking about the troll stuff. There's this YouTuber that would play that Pokemon Showdown game, and his number one thing that he would do. So this is of course why I watched him. He had a Wooper. He would go into like these battles. People would have like their 6 guys. They'd have like legendaries, and he would have one Wooper. And the Wooper knew, and this is all apparently legal moves. Uh, Wooper knew Curse, and knew Recover, and knew Earthquake, and he just kept cursing himself until it was like he's at like his speed is max debuffed and his attack is max buffed, and then he just heal himself when the person keeps hitting him. Um, and then would just once he gets max, he just earthquake and just wipe everyone on the team every time. It was fantastic.
Yeah,
It was
there's
just
like
funny.
there's some funny, interesting Pokemon strategies. One of them is not Surviper, um, Servine. What's the grass
Fro-
in Gen 5?
Yeah, that's Servine. Snivy,
Yeah,
Yeah,
Servine,
Servine.
Superior.
or yeah.
Yeah. Well, so there, when Dream World came out, they gave it the ability Contrary, which instead of debuffing, it raises your stats. So you just spam Leaf Storm, and it keeps giving you a plus boost, and you just keep getting stronger and stronger and stronger attacks like that.
That's
So
funny.
there are funny strats like that.
Pokemon's wild.
They have like funny troll channels, like what Whoopa was saying, where it's like people who go in like with the obvious. Everyone knows the level 1 Endeavor Rat Attack Quick Attack
Yeah,
combination, or roar teams, or with like Aeron and stuff like that too. It's just like stuff like that.
That's yeah. I enjoyed that like when I was like trying to get into Pokemon at the time because YouTube made it much more easy to like see it anytime anywhere. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of great Pokemon YouTubers. I think I mentioned this before. I said I don't know if you heard the two that are competitive scenes, but if you guys haven't
Wolfie
heard of
and
Wolfie Glick, yeah, Aaron Zhang, really like those guys are like the good go-tos for like meta games and learning about new stuff. But then if you want to like learn about like all the competitive history, there's one that I watch. He releases a video every Sunday. It's False Swipe Gaming. If you want to learn about like past metas and stuff like that,
Yeah, I love
or
that dude's videos.
I love his videos too. And then you learn about like how they keep finding like new fun metas, like Jinx and Moltres are like suddenly like really good in Gen 1 metas, even though like Gen 1 metas have been dead for years.
Yeah, yeah.
That's funny. Well, if that's all you have that you want to talk about with competition or TCG, I don't know, because I stepped away for a quick second. Did you brush up on any of the TCG stuff or
Oh, a little bit. It's like the VGC stuff is kind of like it's harder to have like that random chaos of
Yeah.
like compared to like deck building. Like like in decks, like you can have like some weird combinations of decks. Like I like there's two types of formats. Okay, so there's like standard format, which is like 6 sets of like the current rotation, and then they have this thing called expanded. And I haven't played it in a while, but expanded format goes all the way back to I think base set black and white to current day. So you can make some crazy decks just out of like all this combinations. I liked playing expanded more because you can have like some crazy broken combinations of moves and stuff, especially with
Yeah.
like the more gimmicks they put into it. But at the same time, I always found like Pokemon, the TCG, compared to like other ones, like there was always like a meta deck, you could say, but there's always a lot more freedom in like just making decks that could be fun, that may not win a tournament, but could probably get you like a, you know, a top 64 finish and walk away with a few, couple $100 here and there, depending on how big the regional was.
that's pretty cool. That's yeah, and then you can just reinvest it into back into like making a better deck and everything. Man, talk about real quickly. Talk about all the merchandising because you were sharing that. I don't remember where it was recently, but all the merchandising and like the cool things you can buy or see at Pokemon World, and I can talk about the Pokemon Center a little bit as well. But I don't know about you guys when it comes to like merch and stuff, if you guys are like super consumers like me or Carl is. I know Whoopa's a big plushie collector for that, but I don't know about you,
Yes.
AJ and IJP. What do you guys think about the Pokemon merch?
So
I don't really buy any, honestly. I want to
Yeah,
get
don't blame
a
me.
Beedrill plushie, but they're like $30, so I'm not gonna do it.
Oof, yeah.
That's
so
worth it.
another
No,
thing too about the Pokemon events is that I think they cost like $25 to enter, and a lot of times they would give you a playmat when you entered. So like I got mine right here. I can tell you exactly what it was. So this one was from November 2016, Fort Wayne, Indiana is when I got this playmat, and it's got a Mega Charizard Y on it. So
That's
they
cool.
would give you a playmat, and then they would give you, I think, 5 booster packs as well as your entry fee.
That's
And
actually pretty good if you value it out or price it out or whatever. That seems pretty good. So like your actual ticket was what, like maybe $5 or less? Like
yeah,
if you think about it, that's cool.
unless I hit like a good card, then it paid for itself right there.
Right.
And then on top of that too, I got another one here. This one I think was from Daytona. It doesn't have the name on it, but it's a Tapu Fini. I'll take some pictures after this and share it later. But um, they every regional you go to, they had like different playmats for said event at the time. I don't know if this has changed. I haven't played in years, but I still consider that it probably is the same. And then if you made Top Cut, they would give you more booster packs as well. So I think whenever uh, when I would top, which was you know okay amount, but they would give you like a whole booster box, sometimes two, depending on how you placed. So you got an extra 2 booster boxes, and depending on how high you placed as well, they would give you a top mat that said you got top X at said tournament as well. So you would get an alternate play mat on top of that too. And depending on how well you placed as well, like if you got first place, you got, I think the regional payouts when I was playing was like 5 grand for first and second place.
That's a lot. Wow. For a trading card game. Wow.
Yeah. And like I said, that was for 18-year-olds up. So the prize support for Pokemon, like especially if you're coming from Yu-Gi-Oh like I was, where Yu-Gi-Oh is like basically like people like hating their lives and just fighting over who gets a Xbox One or a PS4 as like their big thing, or a prize card if you got like top 3 and nothing really else to speak of. Or if the on the inverse, if you were playing Magic, like if you could make real money playing Magic, like real money, but like for Pokemon, like it's just that like right happy medium where it's like if you're under 18, you got college scholarship money. If you're over 18, you got like actual money.
That's pretty cool. Wow. And on top of all the merch, and then like the free stuff you get for just entering and doing really well, that would definitely give you a stronger incentive to try harder next time. And
Yes.
yeah, that's pretty neat. I don't know, like did Yu-Gi-Oh do that just out of curiosity or?
Yu-Gi-Oh, I don't know really what they did. I just know Yu-Gi-Oh kept saying like they did not want to pay and offer money or anything like that. Their price support in Yu-Gi-Oh was duty. All right, that's the
Oops.
best way to say it. You got like booster packs when you entered a tournament in Yu-Gi-Oh, and the only thing you really could get out of it was a playmat, and if you did really well, you got a prize card. Like for Pokemon, like they kind of did like a promo card too for every tournament, so you could walk into some tournaments and you could get like a foil card that said like League Cup or something like that. Regionals would be printed on it. Like it was a special foil card,
Okay,
that you could
yeah.
only get from that event. And then like the vendors that would come around, they would sell like plushies, playmats, deck boxes, card sleeves, video games. Like depending on how big it was, like it attracted a bunch of like local card shops, obviously, to vend, and a lot of like buying and selling going on there. People who just scrub out and be like, I'm just gonna sell all my cards. I'm done. I'm not gonna come back and play. A lot of backpack vending, which is obviously kind of, you can infer what that means. You just be like, oh, hey, let's go outside and make a deal, because you can't sell on the floor. That could get you banned because you're not a licensed vendor. And then it's a lot of it was just going outside. Like I used to smoke cigarettes, so it would just go outside. We're smoking cigarettes, and then you're just doing the barter system. Like
Oh
it's something different.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, like I guess I can touch on it later when it comes to the merchandising. But yeah, like it moves stuff out. At least out here in Japan, it moves like merchandising just moves out here. It's insane. I don't remember seeing a ton of it in the U.S. I know like GameStop would carry some stuff here and there, maybe Walmart. As far as like some toys and stuff, but primarily I always would just see cards, some like small action figure type toys, and then obviously the video games. But like yeah, at least out here, there's like merchandise for all kinds of stuff. And
Yeah,
it's like dude. The every time I go to this city and I go towards where the Pokemon Center is, the store is always full. Like at all hours of
that's
the day, it's
crazy.
full, man, and the line is really long to pay. And I mean, people, because you're talking about plushies earlier, Woopa. So like they've
Yes.
been doing this like series where like all the Pokemon are like the same size plushie basically, and they're up to like
Yep.
they're up to Gen 5 right now.
Are they the ones that are all sitting down?
Yeah, like they're all
Yeah, I've
It's
seen
the
those.
it's
yeah.
the sitting. I got the Whooper of that one.
Oh, sick.
Nice.
Yeah, so like that's cool to see, and then they've got like the giant plushies as well, and they've got like all kinds of random like stuff. They have plushies like Pokemon wearing different outfits, you know, like to be all like cutesy or whatever. But
Yeah.
yeah, like as far as like they got their merchandise game on point, which is like really interesting. But
Yeah, it's crazy.
all right, I want to get AJ in here because I want to talk about. I know you don't do a lot of retro hunting, AJ, but you've definitely got like the life hacks for finding cheap Pokemon games, at least for the Switch.
The pawn shop, apparently.
Yeah.
Bro, I just go to the pawn shop, man, and see what's in there.
So like
Mhm.
IJP man, you and I mean we've talked about it. I know Carl knows
Yeah.
about it. Like Pokemon games, there's like millions of units of them out in the wild, and for some like stupid reason, the game sellers, the online shops and all that, they have them priced hiked like way too high, um, for no
Pe-
reason. Yeah.
People have been tricked into thinking that because they're old, they're somehow like rare or as expensive as they should be, when it's really just people convincing you that you should pay that much money for it.
Yeah,
And a
it's
lot of the times they're not even in good condition. Like the Americans, they did not keep their games well kept like the Japanese do.
yeah, very true, man. Like I'm gonna search it up here on my phone, but give us like, some examples on your adventures through eBay, looking up
Okay,
these
so
games.
the one that sticks out in my mind the most is a guy that was selling in bulk, and he had pictures of like literally hundreds of carts of these games, and it's like I think it was up to like $80 per cart or something. Which
That's crazy.
in that case it made more sense because since he had so many, he doesn't really want people like buying them from him and then reselling them. Because if it's like $80, what are you going to sell it for? Like 100? Like nobody's going to buy that. So in that
Right.
case, it kind of made sense, but it's still really scummy when you looked at the quote unquote good condition carts, which is like labeled completely off, or like there's human feces on one of them, or at least that's what it looked like.
What?
Like, yeah,
Yummy.
yeah, it was terrible.
Well, so I was just looking up real quickly. As far as loose, like just the cartridge.
Oh yeah,
Um,
all those are loose, by the way. I'm talking about like hundreds of dollars for like loose stuff. Not
yeah,
no box, no nothing.
yeah. Out here in Japan and probably in like Korea, for example, maybe I don't know about Europe, maybe Europe, but like here, loose, just a cartridge for like red and blue, they go for like $5 to $10, and they're in like good condition, like meaning the sticker's still on,
Yeah.
like the full sticker's still on. There might be some dirtiness to the case itself, the cartridge, but you can like magic eraser it, like wipe it off.
Yeah, yeah.
But they run fine. The batteries are dead because they're like 20+ year old games, so you gotta swap out the battery. But besides
Yeah,
that,
that's
like yeah,
easy to do.
it's crazy how easy it is to get it. And but like you said, in the US, like people have been like gaslit into believing that because they're an older game, even though there are like millions of copies of them around North America or around the world, but most maybe a lot more in North America, no, they're gonna be priced up higher, especially like for example, like Heart Gold and Soul Silver. But
Ugh.
I think the reason why those are a little bit higher up is because the market has decided those are like the best
Yeah.
Pokemon games, even though like everyone's opinion's different on them, right? But
Bro,
what's up, AJ?
I got my Soul Silver for $5.
Oh,
Angry Canadian.
AJ, I'm jealous.
Yeah, but is
Like,
that a repro? Because that sounds like it's a repro.
Yeah, where
no,
did you
bro,
get
it's
it?
it's the legit game. There's no box, but I go into the pawn shop and they have a DS section
Sure.
for whatever reason, and I saw Soul Silver, and Black was there. So I got Black. I never cared to play Gen 5. All of the designs were ugly, but I was like, bro, for $5, man, I can't beat that.
Yeah, you're
So
losing money if you don't buy it at that point.
yeah,
Oh yeah,
so I mean, I got it.
you
So I
could
got
sell it to
posted. I
someone
was
down
like,
the street for 10.
yeah, I
Yeah,
had Heart
50.
Gold back in the day. I don't know what happened to it, but look, man, I'm happy where I'm at right now. And Crocodile is actually one of my favorite Pokemon. And once I look back, I'm like, you know what? Gen 5 actually has some dope Pokemon.
There's some cool designs, yeah.
It does. Gen 5 was also like a complete reboot of the Pokemon series as well.
Yeah, it's kind of like a new starting point.
Well, because
Yeah,
and
this
every
kind of
Pokemon on that Pokedex too were completely brand new. They didn't have any
Yeah,
returning.
that was
Mhm.
crazy.
yeah, but it's got an ice cream guy, so I don't like it.
Well,
Oh
that's the
man.
best one. You're a hater.
Shut up!
Vanilla,
Not
man,
allowed.
forget that thing. My Pig Knight takes care of that thing.
Yeah, I around the time that Black and White was out, that's when like the online version of the TCG was kind of getting big, like on the computer, like playing
Yeah.
TCG on the web browser. And I remember playing it like at the library or somewhere in secret, and just like having fun, like playing Black and White, like the starters, the those three starters and all those other characters, and kind of learning about Black and White that way. That was pretty cool. But yeah, AJ's got the ultimate strats for like finding cheap Pokemon games, which is your local pawn shop.
You got to
What-
get
what-
lucky with pawn shops. Sometimes they know what they're doing. Sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
Man,
Let's all go to
every-
AJ's pawn shop.
I go to Cash America Pawn. There's a place called Easy Pawn.
Oh, he's
there's
going to the place where the crackheads who steal the game sell them for money. That's right.
That's where it's at, man.
Wow.
Look, man, I've come up on some great stuff. I was telling AC, I don't know if y'all play Bravely Default, but I just got there for like $20, and
That's not terrible.
yeah, it's not terrible. I love Bravely Default. So I mean, $20 for a Switch game, a JRPG, I couldn't beat that.
That's good.
Yeah. The problem is around me though, because I live in the Chicagoland area. So like every
I'm sorry to hear that.
pawn shop around me is basically up on their stuff. So they never really have like a deal. The best thing I can get sometimes is I can go into a Goodwill. Sometimes I get lucky, or I go into a GameStop and you just got to ask the person working the desk if they have any retro games, if there's still a GameStop in your area, because that does happen sometimes. And GameStop prices are not as crazy on this subject as like say for example like eBay. And also another thing too, don't be afraid to haggle with people. That's another thing too, because
Yeah.
sometimes you will get lucky, and you could just like haggle
Especially
down
if
a
their
person.
car looks like garbage.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
Of course. Yeah, like it's
man, I
it's too messed
definitely,
up or dirty. You got to drop the price.
Yeah, dude.
At
What's
Cash
up,
America
AJ?
Pawn, if y'all have one, I'm always trying to get at least $5 off of it. But the thing with those is they can't sell it at a outrageous price. So all of their DS games like is one set price. So depending on how old it is, it doesn't matter what it's going for online or a
Ah.
collector. They have to sell it for that. So yeah, man, that's where I've been finding some cool stuff.
That's cool, man.
Well, get us all a copy of Heart Gold then.
Yeah, dude.
I'm
We'll play
looking out, bro.
together.
If I can
Please.
if I can find one, I'll send it to one of y'all.
I think
Hell yeah.
IJP needs it first before the rest of
I
us get it.
needs it.
Yeah, so one thing I want to close out on with like the retro market is the problem with repros, reproduction cards, and like how
yeah.
Oh yeah, I got a problem with that too.
yeah, so like here in Japan it's illegal to sell them at all. And but in
Oh,
the
that's
US,
amazing.
yeah, in the US like there's no issue, which is crazy because like I have my sister do the retro
Capitalism.
hunting for me, and so she's not aware of that until like we learned a couple times, like when she went into the store and asked them, because I gave her a list, right, and I'm like, hey, I'm looking for these games, and then she's like, oh, they have this game, it's this price, and I'm like, all right, that's cool, and then the owner has to tell them that that's a reproduction card or whatever. So that's crazy how, like, yeah, you could go to a store and get like a Game Boy version of like Emerald, for example, but it's like a reproduction cart. Even like the DS games, which I didn't know, like they can easily make reproductions of the
Oh
DS
yeah.
games. I don't 3DS is probably a little bit harder, but
Yeah.
yeah, like that's a big issue, and I wish like that wasn't allowed in the U.S. because that kind of like ruins the market, in my opinion. I don't know,
Well, I mean, as
Carl.
long as they tell you like this isn't the real thing, I think that's fine. It's just that some people aren't gonna know like even what that means.
Yeah.
Look up online, especially for Game Boy Advance stuff. It's easy for Pokemon games because they're see-through. If they don't have like a certain chip stuff in the back, or if it looks like there's like 17 soldery points on it, then it's a
Yeah.
repo. That happened
Also,
to me
look
at
for the stamp number on the front label.
Mhm.
You gotta
Well,
look
not
at it like at
everyone
an
has
angle,
a,
but
a stamp number on the front of them, but they
I
are
think most of the
legit. Some of them.
Pokemons do.
All the Pokemon and like all the Nintendo, like actual Nintendo first party stuff do, but not all of them do, because there's like a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh games as well for the advance that don't have it, so you sometimes have to take open and double check like the chips, especially for like Game Boy repos. Like that's a little bit harder sometimes. Like there are ways to tell, but sometimes you can get them snuck past you too.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you ever are worried, you can always just ask the shop owner to like open it up so you can see the board, especially because the amount of money that you're spending on these games is like outrageous now. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, or if you're lucky, you can find a shop that refuses to sell repros, and there's one where my sister lives, that she found that shop, so I only go to that shop because I know everything's legit. Um,
Yeah.
but that's
Game
kind of
Boy
hard.
DS ones are easier because it's like right in between the pins on the little DS chip that there's like numbers. If there aren't any numbers, walk away.
All right, that's a good thing to remember.
Yeah, I'll take a picture and explain it to you later if you want to see it.
So the next thing I wanted to talk to you guys about, kind of like more fun, is so a lot of us have good experiences with some of the remakes that they've done. In particular, Alpha Sapphire, Mega Ruby. Whoopa, do you think, if they make another remake game, what do you think they're gonna tackle next?
I mean, they've been going in order, so I assume the 5 is going to be the next one.
Now they're gonna skip to X and Y.
Yeah, they already are skipping X and Y. That's what they're doing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
with
they
Legends
already announced Z.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember, like, back in the day when, like, yeah, X and Y was really popular, and then people were like expecting that third game was gonna be Z,
Yeah, I
and like we
remember
never
that.
got it.
I'm more
And they
upset we
had-
didn't get Pokemon Gun to go with Shield and
I was
Sword.
about to, I was
Oh,
gonna
the
say, what's
memes
up
for
with
that,
that?
yeah. Yeah, that
So,
was.
dude,
Oh, go ahead, AJ.
well, I was saying we had X and Y, bro, and they gave us Zygarde. I'm like, the dude is right there, man. Like, give us that Emerald energy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
Why do you think they stopped that? Right. So like, Platinum
because they
was the
put him in
last.
Ultra Sun and Moon. That's why they did it.
Well, yeah, but I meant like, why did you think they stopped the third game release, like with Platinum? Because the Black and White, they did the Black and White 2, and then Sun and Moon, Ultra Sun and Moon, and all that. Like,
I have a theory.
what's
To
up?
make more money.
No, it's because nobody bought the third game as much as the first runs of them.
Is
Yeah.
that true though?
Yeah,
That is true.
if you look at like Emerald and Platinum, the amount of sales are almost half comparatively than the initial release.
Mm.
And
I
they were
think-
doing extra work to make them more definitive and better.
Yeah.
And on top of that too, piracy also probably played a lot of role into like making that third game.
Yar.
So there's a lot of data that you can put out there and just like speculate. You will never get a real reason for it.
Yeah,
I
they'll
think
never say.
I think it just started to become like Pokemon was just trying to see what would stick with like what they were doing. And even though like 7 million units of a Pokemon game, like for example for Platinum, that's still great. but it's still half, and then they did all this extra work to change up, mechanics, graphics, and everything else that I think they just said like it ain't worth it to make a third game that's gonna sell for half.
That's interesting.
And it's also like I think in the Pokemon model, I obviously love Pokemon, but they're like their whole thing is like, can we be like as consumer unfriendly as possible? It's
Can
like
we
we're
put
gonna
in as
give you
little
we're
work
gonna
as possible and get most
well, it's
out
like
of
we're
it?
gonna
Yeah.
give you we're gonna give you this is technically one story, but we're gonna sell you 3 full price games so you can experience it. And I'm sure eventually, yeah, that plays into the sales and people are like,
Yeah,
dude,
remember
I'm
when they
tired. I'm
redid
not
all
doing
those
this.
animations that looked exactly the same from the ones in X and Y? But
What?
they claim they redid them, and that's why we didn't get the full Pokedex, and that was just a
Oh,
lie.
for Sword and
And
Oh
they
Shield.
my
just did.
gosh.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
They
yeah.
said that the
Remember
reason why we weren't getting the full Pokedex because they're taking time to redo
Yeah, I remember
animations, and they're the same ones.
that.
Oh, whoa.
and there was like one guy who made like this Pikachu animation in like 30 minutes and live streamed it, and it was like awesome. And they're like, why?
Damn.
Like, come on, guys! Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What were you
Yeah,
what were you saying gonna say there,
And
Carl?
your mic just tripped out for a second there. Confused me.
Oh, my bad.
Oh, you're fine. It's just like,
Yeah,
whoa.
yeah. So I remember that. I was pretty disappointed. Like when Sword and Shield released it, they were like, "We're not gonna put the whole Pokédex." But if you think about it, it's like what 900 at that time, it was like 900 Pokemon that they would have to
I mean,
throw into the
that's
game.
fine, but the reason that they gave was just nonsense.
Yeah, I
Listen,
totally
they're a
get
million
that.
dollar
That's not
company.
fine.
Yep.
That's all they do is nonsense. That's their whole
That's
business.
not fine, man. When your motto is "Gotta catch them all," and you don't even have
right,
them all
Yeah.
available.
That's
Oh, they
true,
abandoned
yeah.
that now. It's no
I mean,
longer
yeah,
got to
but
catch them all. It's called
Man,
Train On.
I know,
Oh, really?
man,
Train
oh,
on?
of course they did
I'm not
that.
even joking. That
Oh,
yeah,
it's
that's legitimate
terrible.
thing. They gave up on the
I'm
"Gotta
s-
catch 'em all" moniker,
I'm
and
sick
now
of
they
these
just
freaking nerds.
replaced
What
it
are they
with
doing?
Train On.
Well,
But I
speaking
can't.
Stop.
If I
speaking of
remember
it,
correctly, if I'm not lying,
Oh, never
go
mind, AJ.
go ahead, AJ. Go ahead.
yeah, never mind. Well, I
Oh,
said I still can't get Infernape in Scarlet and Violet,
you're still waiting for it?
Yes, you
Did he
can
just
actually.
explode?
huh?
You can now. They have all the starters with the DLC.
Yeah, I got to buy the DLC. I'm not doing that.
So I wanted to.
Well, then
I
now.
shouldn't have to
well,
buy DLC, bro, to get a Pokemon that's been
well,
here
you
for
don't have to
generations.
buy it now. You could just trade for it now if you want. That's another thing.
Oh
Like
yeah.
you could do the update and still get access to the Pokemon, but if you want to catch it naturally, you have to buy the DLC.
No, I can't get them off of my Pokemon like database, the bank or whatever it's called.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah.
So I wanted to.
That's
I'll
why
have
they're
to
not
look.
getting
I'll
my
have to look into
$5.
that. Actually, I don't know about that, but yeah, that's news to me.
I wanted to ask you guys, like to close this off, like, what did you think about the DLC push that they've done with Sword and Shield and then Scarlet and Violet? Like, is that like a good thing? Because at least like you could still keep the same game. Yeah, you have to pay extra for the DLC, which is whatever. But like you have that option. You don't have to, and it's like half the price of a normal game. So instead of like buying that third
Disgusting.
game, you're buying a DLC instead, or a season pass. Actually, that's what they're selling it as.
Yeah,
Disgusting.
that's how I look at it too. It's basically the third game, but instead of buying a third game now, you can buy the DLC.
Bro, I just said I can't get Infernape, my favorite Pokemon, unless I buy DLC. So I can't get my favorite Pokemon by buying the Pokemon game. I gotta buy some extra stuff. That's
Yeah,
nonsense.
I totally get
Yeah, I
that.
agree.
Yeah,
Like
I think
I
it's
I was saying, man, I think I'll be real quick. If Pokemon was actually just honest and was like, okay, you're not going to get all of the Pokemon, we have way too many. We're going to give you this set amount with the initial release of the game and slowly release like expansions to where, okay, now you can go to this region and you have this much more of the Pokedex unlocked. I would gladly throw them $30, $40 at a time for this like big open Pokemon world game to eventually get to all the Pokemon and everything that I want. But them just putting stuff out and just, I guess, I don't want to say arbitrarily choosing what
mhm.
Pokemon makes the cut. Sure, there's probably some reason as far as like battling, competition type stuff, or what they choose who gets to go. But man, we should have access to all of them because The idea of Pokemon is this is a living, breathing world. These are animals. They are everywhere. They cross regions and waters and oceans and whatnot. So going back to the reboot point, I'm like, at this point, like you can't tell me like it's still outdated that once you go to a region you only choose these three starters, because I promise you somebody has a starter from a different region that they just decided, oh, look at angry Canadian moved to Japan, I'm just gonna take my Charmander over there with me. It's like, bro, we should have access just like dogs or different breeds. It's like they're available, people are breeding these things in a place that they were not originally made. So
Hmm.
I think that
I
should be taken
also
into
googled this
consideration.
DLC thing. It says you can do that. Like you
Man,
don't
I
need
would
the
try.
DLC to get them. I'm just reading right here because it says you're able to do that through Pokemon Home and everything else like that.
Dude,
So
I will try again tonight and I will let y'all know on Discord, but I'm not
yeah,
able to get my Infernape over.
because
And
this
it's a
was
legit Infernape.
yeah, this was posted in March, and someone says here you can trade from the DLC Pokemon through Pokemon Home or the in-game SV link trading or surprise trading. Both are in the Pokemon Portal. It's saying
Hmm.
because
Okay.
I could have sworn that like there is a way to do that. So that's if I don't know because I haven't tried that. I don't transfer my Pokemon up with me everywhere I go. I always start fresh every time I buy a game just to keep it interesting. But that maybe YouTube it. That's what I would say for a better answer.
Hmm.
So, last question I'll ask about, well, like towards AJ, I guess, would be, when you played, you said you played Arceus, right?
Yeah,
So,
I
what did
loaded
you
that back
think?
up today.
What did you think about the fact that the starter Pokemon you chose were like from the different regions? So, like you had did it, Rowlet, sorry, and then you had Oshawott, and then you had Cyndaquil. Like it wasn't just like you had to like they because the story of the
The
game,
best
right?
boy.
What's up? Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
sorry, I'm just randomly commenting. My bad.
So like the story of the game, right, is like they went to like the Sinnoh region, which it was called a different. They had a different name because it's like way in the past.
Hisui.
Hisui?
Hisui, yeah.
Hisui.
And so you're kind of like exploring this region. So you had to bring Pokemon that they already domesticated, for like a lack of a better term, and then bring it to that region. And then yeah, you did find the starter Pokemon there while you're playing the game. Your Chimchar, your Piplup, and your Turtwig. Like, what do you think of that approach to it? Right? Like, is that something that you kind of liked that they did?
Man, I think it's more of this gimmicky nonsense where they're doing.
Aw,
It's like
man.
it's like we know what you want, but we're not going to give you that. So that's my issue with it. And then we're going into the past. So okay, we're going into the past, and we're probably not going as far into the past as Pokemon Scarlet, but it's like, bro, you mean to tell me that in the past, this, and I was just talking to Afro in the chat. It's like, you mean to tell me in the past Typhlosion was a ghost and fire type, but current day he's just a ghost? Like, make
I
that
mean,
make sense, man.
I think it's also just because it's a regional variant. I guess you can make a
Yeah.
counter argument
Yeah.
because it's like I can find a Sandshrew that just like digs in the desert, or if I go to Hawaii, I could find like the ice Sandshrew. That makes no sense, but I guess it's here. You know?
Yeah.
I get the variant thing, and I like that they started to try to introduce that, but variants shouldn't be. I'm not gonna go into that. That's a longer conversation. I I'm just gonna say, man, it's fun. Like I'm playing Arceus now. I think gameplay wise, it's the most fun I've had on a Pokemon game. Uh, but Arceus should not be some spin-off weird thing that's not connected to the main thing. When you have Scarlet and Violet trying to do essentially the same thing with the open world, it's like, why are y'all not just putting all these resources and energy into one game to give us actually what we want? Like
Yeah,
people been wanting Mega.
it's almost like the two teams aren't communicating with each other.
Yeah, and it's like both of y'all have good ideas. Let's put them together and make the game that people actually want. And then with the Arceus thing, it's like you don't have battles, which I can understand. In the past, you're just learning about Pokemon, but you mean to tell me you're just learning about Pokemon, so we can't battle with them? But you've developed you can make a Pokeball out of apricots, out of some random plant that you found,
Some fruit.
and, you,
Uh,
and some
I,
fruit, and you make this Pokemon a digitized version to get sucked into this little ball. It don't make
I,
sense, bro.
they kind of do have some of that explained in the lore, though. You know, it's like you have people that do have Pokemon. You have some battles, but that's why they have the alpha Pokemon system in there because it's supposed to like have that more of a. It's not a settled region. It's wild, and what's wild is the Pokemon, and the Pokemon are supposed to be actually more dangerous because they're untamed. You know.
Yeah, but again, if y'all
I,
don't know much about these creatures, yet you've developed the technology that will capture
What was
them
that?
and put them into a tiny
that
ball.
was my bad. I pressed the button. My bad.
It's like who's playing banjos? What's going on? Is this
He
deliverance?
just started like really give out his heart here. Somebody's interrupting you with music.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Nah, man, I hate it, but I enjoy the riding Pokemon. I think we should be able to just like, why are we not able to ride our own Pokemon? Like the fact that you got these, I guess they're not HMs anymore, but you mean to tell me I can't just hop on my Arcanine or my Charizard or whatever and just ride him?
Which that was the cool part about Let's Go is that you could just hold onto your Snorlax and he's just running around with you and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that was cool.
Yeah, I heard a lot of good things about Let's Go. I
I,
haven't had a chance to play it. It kind of like did
I
it.
have not.
Oh, you haven't played it, or good things, or you haven't played it?
Well, I haven't heard good things. I was like, oh, okay.
Oh,
I
I
haven't
just,
heard
I
any
like
just
good
Yeah,
heard.
Let's
things
Go a
I
lot.
honestly haven't heard good things either.
Really,
I
I thought
loved
a
it a
lot
lot. It
of
was fun.
yeah, a lot of people that are classic fans enjoyed it, and they enjoyed some of the little things in it. And I guess it was like it could have,
Uh,
in some ways, it was too easy to play. Uh,
It was for
I
the
Yeah.
Let's Go or the Pokemon Go audience to try to get into a actual Pokemon game. That's really what it was.
Yeah.
yep.
The
I
And they
fans
bought.
did.
were great.
I didn't buy that. I rented it for my sister because I was trying to spread my whoopaganda, and she was like, "What is this?" And I was like, "Oh no."
I like the steel book it came with though. It's pretty cool.
All right.
well,
Well, steelbook. If you're not a poor. Sorry.
Hey
oh
man,
my
It
goodness,
Arceus
was
is
free.
fun though.
I didn't pay extra for it. It was free for the pre-orders. That's all.
Arceus was fun there,
Ah.
AJ.
Arceus is fun. I would encourage people to play it, but I think my opinion is skewed because again, I bought it for less than $30. Would I want to pay $60 for this? I think not.
That's a good
But
Yeah.
point.
yeah, I think
I
that has a lot to do with it.
so I played Arceus. I loved that game. I think it's great. Probably in my top 5 for Pokemon games, including like the spin-offs and everything. Um, but the one thing that did always kind of bother me is like I know they've passed a lot of this stuff a long time ago, but you go to like Gen 1 and it's like here's this crazy awesome Pokemon Professor Oak. He's doing all this research and needs you to get this Pokedex. You're learning so much about these Pokemon. It's crazy. And then it's like we go to the past and like, yeah, there's some crazy dude wearing a beanie, like already figured all this stuff out. Like,
Yeah,
like,
a sus looking character.
like 200 years ago, they already did all this.
Yeah.
Like Professor Oak just like didn't get the meeting memo or something.
I
Professor
think
Oak
it's
was like,
also what they explain for that in the lore is that it's actually for the region of the area, not so much that the Pokedex is like this crazy new thing.
Yeah.
It's for you to catalog the Pokemon of said region. You're kind of the assistant to help do that. That would be my counter argument for you.
No,
Man, but
I kind of get it. It's just to me, it's almost like what you guys didn't like communicate anything together of like, oh yeah, I've seen this Pokemon before all the time. This is everything about it.
yeah,
I don't
like you
know. It
have
just bothered me.
somebody hop on a Gyarados or what's it, Braviary, a Star Raptor, Braviary. Like we can go somewhere else. Like people explore, and hey, you have Pokemon over here. Hey, you're researching them. This is what I found. So, yeah, man, they're just
Oh,
not on the
I know
same
the
level.
answer to this. It just meant that they're mimicking historical Japan. They weren't unified. That's why. I think
Okay.
Carl can
Maybe,
chime into
okay.
that.
I like that answer.
um,
It-
yeah, go
like I
ahead.
said, I think a lot of it is like
That's what.
people overthinking something that doesn't
Oh,
really
of
need to be
course, yeah.
overthought about. That's really what it is. Because
Don't forget.
They're just winging it, really.
I would say they're just winging
It
it.
does
It's
feel
it's
like
kind of
it.
it's kind of like something. It's like this property is almost like 30 years old, and it's evolved and changed so much.
Yeah.
It's one of those natural things where it's like, well, why didn't they think about this in 1995? I'm like, I don't know. Half of the dev team is either gone or dead, so that's why they didn't think about this. All right.
Yeah, and Pokemon was supposed to be like a one-off like game
Two gens
series.
at most. It was 2 gens at most. It was supposed to
Yeah,
be
Gen
just
2 is almost the last.
Yeah.
it was supposed to be the last.
Dude, keep it at that, man. Again, the Pokemon I Choose You, that was the perfect. I'm not gonna say the perfect Pokemon movie. That was the perfect way to redo this.
Which one was
I'm
that
not-
one? I don't remember.
I mean, it's hard to explain. It's the reboot. You go back on Ash's adventure from like day one with him and Pikachu. Except the Pokemon that he encountered are Pokemon from like different regions. Like he fought a guy who had a Torracat and evolved to Incineroar. So Ash's Charmeleon fought an Incineroar. But you know, the Ash we grew up with, that wasn't the case. So I'm like, that idea.
Yeah, that Ash was better because his Krabby could beat an Executor.
True.
You talking about old Ash or new?
Base Krabby.
Yeah, old Ash.
Base Krabby, bro.
Yeah, bro. When Kingler came about,
Kingler.
I still don't use Kingler, but he looks cool.
Oh man,
Aesthetically.
it was the best episode when he just had like his Kingler just wailing on that cloister. And it's just like, yeah. And then, you know.
Oh yeah, I love that.
Well, speaking of the anime, I'm gonna play us 2 more clips, and then we'll like start to wrap this up. So I'm gonna preface with loud sound warning because I think these clips are a little bit louder than they should be. So be careful.
Things.
I am the one, the way your son don't need a gun to get respect up on the screen.
That was amazing.
Was that like your
Oh,
first
man.
time trying to edit? Was that what it was?
No. That was I pulled from somebody else's video. Just it was like one of those like Ash roasting Misty compilation videos.
Oh,
And
that's
so
the best one.
yeah, and so I just pulled it
love
from
it.
that. But I got one more.
Is not the same. Not to mention that unique fragrance you're wearing. Of course, I could be wrong.
Good old Brock, the original Gooner.
Bro, Brock was so wasted, bro.
So, AC, I got one. Before we wrap up, that might be a good way to start ending this.
What's up?
Does anyone have like a favorite piece of Pokemon like memorabilia that they really like, comparatively speaking?
Ooh, this is my area of expertise.
Y'all taking too long.
Well,
Let's go with Woopa then, since it was his area of expertise. So go on.
All right, well, I've got 3 Whoopers. That's the best part. I got the little like sitting cuties Whooper, just sitting there
What
looking.
is this
like-
Woopa obsession, man?
Listen, why aren't you
Wait.
obsessed with Whooper?
yeah, that's the big
cool as-
question.
werewolf?
The
Yeah.
guy who has a fursona is going like, "How are you obsessed with Woopa?" Right?
Right.
Werewolves are cool, bro. You got this little mud fish.
You're telling me
that's
this
not-
guy isn't cool?
It's not Mudkip, bro.
Let a man dream, AJ. Let a man dream.
He can, man. I just want to understand. I want to be able to defend you, Whoopa. That's all.
He's
Listen,
like, "I
a
like
cool
to pretend
little-
I'm a werewolf, but this Woopa shit, I can't understand."
I think a lot of it is he's no thoughts, head's empty. First of all, have you watched the Johto episode all about Whooper? That's like the best episode.
Probably not.
Oh my gosh, it's great.
This
The
little
ep- I mean, Whoop-
bipedal mud fish thing.
Well, I mean, it didn't look like that at first. He was like a little. Hold on, let's go back to the not use
Little blue
blackface
boy.
real quick.
Like the design, sure, Whoopa is cute. Okay, I like cute stuff.
right,
But
right.
if is Whoopa even water and ground, or is that cross? I'm
Yes,
just saying
water and ground.
Yeah.
Mudkip is superior. And then you get
Well,
a
Mudkip's
Swampert.
cool.
He's cool.
Mudkip's cool and everything, but like,
Alright.
but like Whooper. Listen, Whooper has an episode where he just like flops. He's just on a tree, and just drops down, lands on Brock. Brock freaks out, and just slides down a cliff and just basically dies. And Whooper's just like, "Hey guys, like that's all you really know." He's like, "Hey, I
Is
just
that
murdered your friend.
is that the same episode where he's like running around in the kitchen and they're like trying to like catch
Yes.
him? Yeah.
He's just breaking everything. He almost stabs Pikachu like multiple times.
Yeah.
Like not even trying. He just knocks over a giant. He's goofy. He
Yeah.
is. When they made abilities, right? They have the ability called Unaware. I'm sure you guys know, right?
Yeah.
The whole point is this Pokemon on your screen is so dumb he will not get affected by poison because his body just doesn't notice it. That's the coolest thing ever.
That's so big.
That's great.
I just love that. It's hip.
Whoopa-
It's very Bidoof.
Whoopa has that meme though, where it's all the Pokemon are in a river panicking for their life, and there's Whoopa like, "What's up, guys? What are we doing?"
Yeah,
This is
that
fun.
one's great. Yeah. But
I love that.
yeah, your favorite piece of like goods or memorabilia is the 3 different Whoopas you got.
That's definitely a big part of it. I got like a little Paldean guy. One of my aunt like dabbles in crafting, and she made me one. It kind of sucks, but I appreciate the love. I got this. What I really like because there's this little. I was talking about it already. I got that little Pikachu wearing an Eevee costume. It's very cute. And I mean that I just really it's very cute. And I found it at like GameStop for $20. IJP was like $30. Oh man, that's too much. That's like, oh, I'll take that.
No.
Some of it is I'm obsessed. Some of it is just I'm used to things in other franchises that I'm like, oh, I think this is kind of cool. Like, oh, you think that's cool? $80. Like, okay, stop that. So when I see like an official Pokemon plush and it's like $20, $30, I'm like, oh, I'll take that. Like comparatively, it seems reasonably priced. Maybe it's like silly. But it just seems like a lot of other companies will jack those prices up big time. And Pokemon is fairly reasonable.
You know what? Now that I look at it, Wooper could be a pre-evolution of Wobbuffet. That's a negative.
How does he get the arm? Wobbuffet has arms though, and Wooper clearly doesn't. Even though Wooper can't.
Quagsire has arms.
Well, that doesn't count. The thing,
AJ's just more disturbed that female Wobbuffet has lipstick on it. That's why.
I hate that.
That
is the
when they
worst.
started doing it.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Pikachu has a heart tail for some reason. Like when we started doing this, bro.
Yeah, but you can't
another.
You can't deny Wobbuffet like being one of the funnier characters in the show with Team Rocket.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, love Wobbuffet.
That's another thing though with Wooper is just the fact that he has no arms and he can learn Ice Punch. Like isn't even an ice type, has no arms, and they're just like, yeah, let's go with it. This makes perfect sense.
Well, it's like Dodrio can learn fly. You know?
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
I love those things. It's fun.
Well, AJ, what about you to answer Carl's question?
Memorabilia, man, I don't have it, but the gold Pokemon cards, that's like that's what Pokemon was at its peak. And I remember it distinctly because it was at Burger King. It was with the Happy Meal or Big Kids Meal, one of those. And I had my cousin, which she was not into Pokemon at all. And we both opened our Pokeballs to reveal the cards. And I had a stupid gold Jigglypuff. And she had the gold Mewtwo. And I was like, oh, snap, I got to get this from her. So then I was like, oh, doing that kid stuff. Oh, don't you want this one? This one is stronger. This is better. Yeah, let's trade. Let me have that one. So she ended up trading with me. So I ended up getting the gold Mewtwo. And she got the gold Jigglypuff. But I was like, yeah, it doesn't matter.
Fleeced.
Mewtwo. Fleeced. And yeah, that's when I started. That's when I started my furry path because I was like, this
origin story.
No.
Because look, we hadn't heard Mewtwo's voice by then, so I was like, bro, this cat rabbit is thick. Bro.
No, my goodness. Cat rabbit.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, that was my best.
All right, that's
favorite
cool.
memory.
I mean, those I won't lie. I remember being excited for those Burger King cards toys. Like it was cool. You get a whole Pokemon card with your kids meal. Like that was pretty cool.
And it came in a
Uh,
Pokeball, bro. It was,
Hmm.
and it wasn't just like a red top, white bottom. Like it was that like that glittery type. I don't know, man. It was like high quality, bro. Like it was some real
one of the
collector's
best
type stuff.
promotionals. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
What about you there, IJP?
I guess it's this. Here, let me turn the camera on. 1 second. I guess it's this Pikachu that I've had since I was a little kid.
Yo, the
Big
chunk.
yeah, chunky
Yeah,
Pikachu.
big, chunky Gen 1 football Pikachu.
Oh, I love that guy.
Yeah, he's
I
pretty
think
cool.
I think I used to have. My mom. This is how you know I
Look at
was
this
a
boy. Look
total
how
dork.
thick he is.
Yo,
He's chunky.
Chunky. Yeah, chunky Pikachu is the best Pikachu. I don't like the skinny one they have now.
oh yeah.
I mean, look at this.
Dude,
AJ, take it
that
away.
bottom is flat.
Dang.
It's so flat.
Oh, yeah,
Sheesh.
he's kind of flat down.
He's
but,
got
you know.
a strong base there. Next sumo champ. Sheesh.
Oh my
That's cool though.
gosh.
Yeah, I love him. He's my son.
I guess I'll answer then. For me, like, I have some cards, like some TCG stuff, but like, they're not like anything super special. So I guess I would have to say, all of the Smash Brother Pokemon amiibos. Um, like any one of those are really cool because it's a really
The
nicely
amiibos.
designed like figurine or whatever. Especially since they've got like my boy Greninja as a Smash Brothers character, and then like Pichu from all the way from Melee. I mean that's pretty cool, and I get that would be my like cool thing. If I still had my Burger King card, maybe that'd be a cool thing, but I don't think I do. So yeah, Smash Brother amiibo.
We got to get you a cooler favorite thing.
Exactly.
Well, actually, when the Gen 6 plushies come out, Lupa, I'm gonna go buy like the Honedge Dual Blade and Agislash plushie, hopefully.
Let's go.
Nerd.
Yeah, of course you can call me that. If they ever made a shiny Greninja plushie, I'll probably get that, or a toy like a shiny Greninja toy. I like to get that as well.
Okay.
Does
We
that
need
satisfy
to-
you, Carl?
For
I need
now,
to send
yeah.
you on. I need to send you on a mission someday.
Yeah, dude, let me know.
HDU. Just need to be like, hey, you're gonna go to the nearest Pokemon Center and just buy me a ton of crap and I'll pay for it. I've got a lot of empty space in this apartment and I need to fill it up somehow. It's gonna be with Pokemon plushes.
Can do.
Dude, Greninja was one of those like bipedal designs that's like, this is not for furries. This is just the best design that we could come up with.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Greninja is a perfect Pokemon.
That makes me feel better.
There you go.
What about you, Carl? Since you asked a question for us.
I guess it's this. Of course, it's not working.
Infinite Warfare? That's your favorite Pokemon merchandise?
No, 1 second. My computer likes to mess up sometimes with these things. It never formats properly.
No,
I
you're
got it.
good. We'll wait in.
I gotta keep
anticipation.
doing it. This is so stupid. I hate this.
Yeah,
I'm
he's
sorry.
shaking it.
Every time. There's a reason why I say I'm a Luddite.
Caveman did it.
God dang it.
It's building suspense. It's good.
It's gonna be great.
a cool moment if y'all
There you
saw
go.
that. Okay.
Oh,
We'll get back to you, AJ.
So my Gale of Darkness GameCube. That's my favorite thing I have.
Nice. That's pretty awesome.
AJ
Yeah.
wishes I was at the pawn shop.
No, bro, I got my Gale of Darkness skin on my GameCube.
Yeah, he had one.
Oh, you
yeah.
do?
Yeah,
Okay,
he's
cool.
got one.
Oh,
I don't have the platinum one though. I got the purple.
Yeah, because you can remove the top at least, but this is the one I found when I was out retro hunting. Because I like to collect limited edition consoles. So that I was like, I gotta have this one at least.
That's cool.
never mind. Sorry, that's off topic.
What were you gonna say earlier, AJ? Before he showed his console?
Man, it's not memorabilia, but it's like Man, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna say Weavile was one of the best Pokemon designs. And in that movie, Lucario and the Mystery of Mew, I don't know if y'all remember, but there was this like black chick, and she was like a Indiana Jones, Kim Possible type character, and she had these twin Weavile, and I don't. That was just a cool memory, man. She was a dope character, and I wish she had returned or did more stuff.
That's one thing I missed out on watching was the movies. I remember seeing bits and pieces of the Darkrai one, but I do want to sit down and watch some of those movies because they seem like I guess you guys would say the budget for those movies were much better than the show. So like the animation quality was better and like they could put more into like the fights and stuff and obviously it focused on the legendaries. Like they seem pretty cool. Like I remember in passing at least. I don't know if they still hold up like that. But I'll have to do my diligence and go watch a couple of those, especially that Lucario one that you keep talking about, AJ.
Man, the Lucario one was actually one of the weaker ones. It's like as what is it, diminishing returns, as they kept going, they got worse. But definitely the first three, I don't think anybody argues that those were not amazing. Like, have you seen one, the first movie, 2000, the Entei movie? Have you at least seen those?
No,
Yeah.
I've seen
I've
bits and
seen that one.
pieces,
Yeah.
but not the full thing.
Dude, watch like the Lugia story. Man, that was crazy. Entei, yeah. I like
Yeah,
the Jirachi one.
I watched all three of those in the theater when they came out.
In the theater, wow.
Yeah, those are theatrical releases, man. I think you definitely should watch those. I actually, let me look right here. From Walmart. I don't know if y'all have those in Japan, but I bought the DVD and it's got the first movie 2003 in
Okay,
one collection.
I can find them. Yeah, I can easily find those ones, except they won't have English audio like dubs or what subs to them. But
I don't care.
Damn.
I can
It's
still
better.
they're easy to follow along though, so I think I can watch them. Yeah, I'll check them out, man. I'll have to look into that.
Just
Yeah,
you'll be
man.
confused when they call Umbreon Blackie, and you're gonna be like, "What's going on here?"
Oh
You say Blackie?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what he's called in Japan.
Dude,
It's
every
Japanese is Blackie.
every black dog in the ghetto, bro. Somebody had a dog named Blackie, bro.
That's where they got it from, bro. Some localizer went to,
Bro.
to the ghettos of America and they saw that.
Bro, it makes so
Just
much
one
sense,
game,
bro.
Ah, this is
one
really
Game
cool.
Freak employee. One single Game Freak employee walked to the
Blackie.
hood and was just like, "Ah, okay."
That's
Bro,
funny.
an Umbreon named Blackie, bro.
What year did what gen was Umbreon? That's Gen 2, right? Or
Gen 2, yeah.
Yeah.
what year did Gen 2 come out in?
98?
Oh,
Yeah.
98. Okay, never mind. I was gonna say a funny joke.
Was it
but-
98?
Well, 98 in Japan, and over here it was like 2000.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it's like
I forget about that sometimes.
Some of them
Yeah.
hip hop albums came over here. Then that's what happened.
Ah.
Well, yeah, guys, it's been like 3 hours. It's been a blast chatting Pokemon with you guys. If you want to do a part 2, we can come on and do a part 2. Hopefully, like if we do a part 2, then some of us need to play some more games and experience them, and we can talk about them some
Yeah,
more.
AJ.
I was thinking of you there,
Yeah, I know.
Mr.
It's
IT.
This guy.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I appreciate you guys taking time to hang out and whatnot. So, we'll do this. So, I want you guys to obviously you can like shill whatever you got coming out, but if there was a game you would recommend yourself, this is your personal take. If you wanted to introduce Pokemon to somebody, give us a game that you would recommend, and then yeah, we'll go from there. So I'll do it in reverse order. So Carl, you can start us out. Give us a game that you would recommend to a starter person to get into Pokemon, and then you can tell us what you got coming out for your channel.
Sure. So if I had to tell people like what's a good starter game for people to try out, I would say just give them a copy of Pokemon Let's Go, and then after that, if they like it, you can introduce them to probably like one of the more newer mainline games. Start with like maybe a Brilliant Diamond or Shining Pearl, even though they're not like the best. Those are kind of like the next tier where they can get like their feet wet.
Wow.
And then from there, I would probably just say like, just tell them, hey, it's a choose your own adventure. Go nuts. You know.
Yep.
You can go all the way back to the past, or you can go all the way to current gen, or the many different types of spin-offs they have.
And you know what? One last one I'll ask you. What is one of your favorite spin-offs? I wanted to ask that earlier in the stream, but we can ask it now. What is like one of your favorite ones?
Oh, it's Pokemon Snap easily.
There you go. Sweet.
Ooh.
Yes. Do you guys think about that?
Bro, do you remember?
Go ahead, AJ.
I said, do y'all remember Pokemon Channel?
Do I have a Pokemon channel?
I
No.
remember
Is
that.
No.
like an app or something?
The GameCube game.
Yeah.
Yes, the GameCube
Yeah,
game.
it was a game. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember it. I just remember like it was just Pikachu eating potato chips and watching TV. I'm like, this doesn't seem right. But it was still probably better than Hey You Pikachu. That's for damn sure.
Oh yeah, with the special console, the unique console that they made for that.
Or you had to constantly yell at him and he just like never listened to you. And I'm like, I hate this game.
Hey, you Pikachu. Yeah, had the mic on it. It was like
If you said
purple and
Sony
yellow or something.
PlayStation, he would get mad at you.
Oh, he just got mad at me in general
So
because I would
people
call him
are-
swear words as like a 5-year-old.
So what do you got coming down the pipeline for your channel there, Mr. RNG?
Tomorrow I will be back 7 o'clock Central Time with my guest Lev Polyakov from Break the Rules. Lev Polyakov runs a friendly debate channel where people talk about things such as like politics, philosophy, religion, and just moral issues about that too. It's going to be a very interesting show to have him on. I'm looking forward to it. Very excited. And then later this week, I got a few more guests lined up, but I guess I'll just announce right now just one of them because he did confirm today that Wednesday I will have on Smash JT as well, and we're going to be talking about like his adventure with some of the online stuff with games journalism and everything else too. So those are the upcoming events. Is tomorrow, Monday, 7 o'clock Central, and Wednesday, 7 o'clock Central as well.
Awesome. Yeah, you guys should definitely check him out. His podcast he does, interviewing people about video games and other stuff. Like it's a great listen, like a great thing just to listen to, like while you're doing something else. And you always learn something new. He always has interesting people on. Definitely worth your time if you ever need to like listen to a good chill gaming podcast. So I appreciate you spending time, man, hanging out with us. IJP, what is
Anytime. I always enjoy talking Pokemon.
no worries. Tell us a game you think. I know you haven't played too many games, but based off of the 3 generations you've played, which one of those would you choose as an entry point for people? And then if you like, what about like spin-off game? And then also what you got coming out for your reviews? Because I know you got one review that you're cooking.
I do be kind of cooking dough. For like general population who like what you would start with, it would definitely be their fire red or leaf green. Probably fire red because it has the fire dragon on them and people like it more. Just because it's a really simple game to get into, but it's not as like primitive as normal Gen 1. And my favorite spin-off is definitely Stadium, just because it's cool, like what I said earlier and stuff like that. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm working on a Minecraft video that I've been working on for like 2 months. I need to finish.
You just keep getting distracted.
I keep getting distracted. I keep not recording because I'm on live streams with other people, and then I just like feel like not recording when I can.
Yeah, for those of you guys in the chat, you should check him out. He's got some really funny Street Fighter reviews that he just did. Those are really good Street Fighter 1 and 2 reviews, and some of your older stuff like your Super Mario Bros. Stuff. That is some pretty good stuff there. But I appreciate you spending time, man. We got to get you a copy of Heart Gold or Soul Silver so you can like review it, play through it, and review it.
Yes, please.
Maybe AJ can hook you up with them, like
I
the
needs it.
store deals or whatever. So,
I'm so...
but yeah, I appreciate your time, man.
Yep.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
What about AJ, bro? What game would you introduce people to, and why? And then what's one of your favorite spin-off games? And then what you got coming out with your channel?
Man, favorite spin-off Pokemon Coliseum, hands down. Is a game that I would give people interested in Pokemon or the I would say because it's accessible Sword and Shield, I actually enjoyed those games despite a lot of the issues. But if they can, I'll keep it at just that. So Sword and Shield, um, and what I'm working on or got coming out. Well, Tighten Up Tuesday. So Tuesday, I'll be streaming. I don't know what I'll be going over, but if you wouldn't mind, Angry Canadian, my dog training thing, my Caesar Milan thing. If I could
Yeah,
drop
go ahead.
that in the chat, I'd appreciate that. So yeah, man, I'm working on that. That's what I'm interested in or trying to do right now. Trying to meet Caesar Milan, trying to go visit him, the guy who got me into dog training. So that'll be dope if y'all could help out with that and vote for me. It is
You're in
free.
third place in your group right now, aren't you?
I know, so I think I should be advancing,
Yeah, you
but I
definitely
don't
gonna
know if they
advance to the
like.
next round.
Yeah, guys.
Yeah, I don't know if they.
I was gonna say the link you
My
dropped.
bad, AC.
It's really easy to sign up for it if you want to help a brother out. Just use like a different email or whatever, and just you get a free vote. And if he has enough people free voting, then like he can move on up and he can go meet his hero, right? Dog trainer hero.
Yes, sir. My Mexican hero, my inspiration to train dogs. That's what I do. I would love to make a Pokemon team of dogs, but we don't have enough cool ones. Um, but anyway, yeah. So Tighten Up Tuesday, and sure, trying to put out videos here and there about stuff. Right now, I'm interested in Mufasa and what's happening with that, the Disney movie.
Yeah, that the one in many.
The Disney movie. Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
the
thinking of the
Disney
other
movie.
movie.
Yeah. Appreciate your time, brother, and like I know we've been trying to get this stream going for like over a year, so we finally got it done, and we'll try to do a part two maybe next year, and have some of us play a couple more games, and maybe your opinion will change on some stuff. We'll see, but
No, no.
appreciate your time.
We need to do the Pokemon versus Digimon, or we maybe a Monster Tainment stream, and
Well,
just
if you want a Monster Tamer stream or like Monster Rancher stream, you should definitely chat with Carl because he's a big fan of old school Monster Rancher.
okay, we'll have Carl on that one. But all right, I'll do that one on my channel, the
Yep.
Monster Tainment stream.
Sweet. Whoopa, man. One of the OGs for me. What's going on with you? And what I guess out of all the Pokemon games, which one do you think is like a good entry point? And what about your favorite spin-off?
Yeah. So I haven't played Fire Red or Leaf Green. I haven't played any of the remakes actually, but um, I've heard that that's one of the better ones to get into. Of the ones I've played, I think I'd be a fan of like Gen 4. I think it's one of the, based on what I hear people talk about, it's kind of like, I played it, I think it's really good. But it's kind of, the graphics are good enough that people who are really about graphics aren't going to freak out about it. And I feel like it's updated enough that people wouldn't just be immediately put off. And I think it's pretty bug free from what I remember. So I think that would be a good one to get people started on. My favorite spin-off has to be Red Rescue Team. Love that game. Uh, I love the whole Mystery Dungeons franchise. That was the first one I played, and it was just the coolest one. I didn't have a DS yet, so I had to have Red Rescue Team. And yeah, I'm not really doing anything, but you can go like subscribe if you want. I'm just kind of here. I have been so busy. Yesterday I was up till 4. I was working from 6 p.m. to 4 a.m. So
Yeah, he's a busy guy
it's a
here.
busy
Yep.
time.
Well,
Yes.
hopefully, by the way, because Pokemon Worlds is right now. Apparently, they're gonna have an announcement for something at the end of Pokemon Worlds.
Yeah, they usually
Oh,
do. It's sometimes mostly the next TCG set they usually like to announce
I
at
heard,
World.
but I heard like it was gonna be something else. Like the way they were hyping it, it was gonna be something different.
well, we
It
haven't
could
had our
be.
Pokemon.
What's up?
We haven't had a recent Pokemon. Sorry for typing. We haven't had a recent Pokemon Presents.
Okay.
Last one was, so maybe they're gonna do that. Or no, we did. Oh my gosh, I missed it. I'm crazy. Or no, is that what is this? Never mind. This is a fake video I just saw. I'm stupid.
Yeah,
We haven't had one since Pokemon Day, and we usually get
Yeah,
2 a year. So
usually you cover them. You'll do like a reaction video for your channel. So, yeah, if you when
Mhm.
you get back on your feet with streaming and stuff, you always play some interesting games on your channel. Like last time you're doing Guardians of the Galaxy, and then that one puzzle game that was really interesting, and then Sleeping Dogs was like the most recent one that you did. Uh,
Oh, Sleeping Dogs, love that game.
yeah. So appreciate your time, man. Talking Pokemon with you and hanging out. You're always willing to
Yeah.
jump on streams too, which is I really appreciate that from you. So, but
Yeah, and you don't have to twist my arm too much to get me to talk about Pokemon.
that's a good thing. Yes. So for me, as far as like entry point, I have to agree probably with several of you guys, like the Fire Red, Leaf Green versions, because it takes the Game Boy engine, basic or Game Boy Advance engine, and allows you to play Gen 1 in like a just a really comfortable environment with all the quality of life improvements they've done. Personally, it depends on price, right? If you're gonna do emulation or if you're gonna buy the game itself. If you want to get a game that's worth its value, like in today's like time, I would choose like Mega or excuse me, Alpha Ruby Omega Sapphire, like one of those games, because I think those games are worth the value that they're sitting at right now, if you have the handheld for it. Um, as far as like favorite spin-off game, Arceus. I mean, I consider that a spin-off. I think it's a fantastic just it's a separate game, and I like the mechanics to it. I think it's a bit grindy. Um, that's why I haven't really finished it yet, but I did enjoy like everything about it. That being it's in my favorite region with some of my favorite Pokemons from that region, but just the old school, like the old Japan look aesthetic they have to it. I like the music in the game. I like the biomes and stuff you're running around it. It's just like a really interesting side game. Hopefully one of these days I can try out Coliseum or Gale of Darkness and some of those other like specific like other games. I played Stadium and Snap, of course, but anyways, like that would be my favorite spin-off. And then as far as my channel goes, this week probably in 2 days from now, I'll be streaming once again Mario and Luigi Partners in Time because it is hashtag JRPG month, something that Carl Vorng started earlier this month. So a lot of people are out there playing JRPG games, and so I'm playing Mario and Luigi Partners in Time on the Wii U, which is it's kind of funny. So Wii U, I'm playing on the Wii U, but it's a DS title. So fun game, and probably like the next week, I got to do one last Final Fantasy VII stream because I'm going to be taking on the Emerald and Ruby weapons, which are apparently the hardest like JRPG side bosses forever in like across all games. So besides that, like I said, I really appreciate you guys taking time for this. 3 hours went by pretty quickly. I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation. Like you guys on the panel specifically, and meeting some people or whatever. But besides that, if you guys got nothing else you want to add, I'm gonna close us out, and because I don't have it, I forgot to make an outro video. So for those of you guys who missed it, I'm gonna play everybody's like walk-on video, and we'll do this one at a time. So you'll see people disappear one at a time. So appreciate everybody in the chat. We had a fire chat tonight. A lot of people came on by and watched. And hopefully you guys learned something new. Hopefully you guys also enjoyed the Pokemon talk as well. But we'll catch you guys later. So let's do this in we'll do this in reverse order here. Prepare for some loud noises as well.
Furry.